When the first white bird plunged down from the sky, it shot straight like a javelin in the direction of Sasuke. Beep. There was a roar, and the flames formed by the explosion instantly enveloped everything within 10 meters around. Ripples of flame spread. Sasuke's figure has appeared outside the radius of the explosion. Look at the power of the explosion in front of you. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly. It has been enhanced a lot, Deidara. It seems that everyone in the Akatsuki organization who came to this world and united with the Shell organization should have more or less accepted the transformation of scientific ninja tools. Otherwise Deidara's detonating clay might not be able to reach this level. Ha ha ha. See it? This is truly perfect art. Now I am perfect. Uchiha Sasuke, they say you are strong, that you are almost invincible, and today I will defeat you. Speaking of which, Deidara's face became much more ferocious. Directly control the flock of white birds in the sky. With a sudden wave of his hand, he slapped hard on the ground. Cold words sounded. He looked at Sasuke in front of him, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Ultimate. Serial explosions. Boom. Accompanied by the sound of the first explosion, followed by the second, third, and fourth. A series of explosions and roars continued to explode. The entire desert seemed to be filled with the roar of explosions in an instant. Countless flames and countless shockwaves spread out. Gaara, who stayed behind at this moment, looked at the scene in front of her, and her scalp felt a little numb. The flames produced by the explosion were so powerful that he even had to control the sand to form a wall for defense. Only then can we guarantee that we will not be attacked. The flames raged, layer upon layer, continuously increasing in height, and continuously rising towards the sky. Boom boom boom. Under the frenzied bombing, the number of densely packed groups of white birds gradually decreased. Under the crazy bombardment that lasted for tens of seconds, the desert in front of me was basically covered by flames and smoke from the explosion within a kilometer range. And the ground was bombarded by Deidara abruptly into a huge deep pit. The sand is burned at high temperature, forming crystals. When the smoke dissipated, the weight of the deep pit was covered with crystals. Except for the shining crystals, there is only a dark rock left. There is even a faint glow of red in some places. The rocks were burned at high temperatures, and metals were refined, and the metals were heated by terrible temperatures to form large lavas that are still flowing. Looking at the scene in front of him, Gaara couldn't help but gasp. What a terrifying power. If such an attack falls on the Sanagakure distance, I'm afraid Sanagakure will cease to exist in an instant. How could this guy be so strong? The detonating clay he made seems to be more powerful. The power of Deidara's detonating clay is far from reaching this level. How did it become like this now? Gaara's eyes showed fear. If he were to face Deidara, how would he defeat this guy? Has it been killed? Cut. I thought it was so powerful, but I still have a lot of powerful moves that I haven't used yet. On this level, is it worthy of being called a nearly invincible existence? Deidara looked at the empty pit now, without Sasuke's figure, and decided that Sasuke was blown up to ashes. The whole person suddenly looked very disdainful. It's only one move, he still has many powerful moves to try. I thought Sasuke would be able to resist a few more moves, but he didn't expect such a careless attack. Uchiha Sasuke is not so easy to deal with. Suddenly Gaara behind him spoke. Hearing his voice, Deidara turned to look at Gaara, and smiled disdainfully. HMPH. What's so good about a guy who has been blown to ashes? Now others. Swish. Suddenly, a black shadow came along with a cool wind. Sasuke appeared behind Deidara. The pain in his hand was at Deidara's throat. Are you looking for me? Sasuke whispered in Deidara's ear. At this moment, Deidara's brain froze for a moment. Why did Sasuke's breath suddenly appear? Did this guy dodge his own attack before? Impossible. Didn't see Sasuke dodging at all. This guy has no chance to dodge at all. Don't you even know that he has the ability to move in space? Your attack may be powerful, but it's useless if you can't hit the enemy. It was Gaara who spoke. When Deidara heard the word spatial ability, she immediately understood. I didn't see Sasuke dodging just now, or he was sure that Sasuke couldn't completely dodge such a large-scale attack, because he didn't know there was such a thing as space ability. The so-called spatial ability, presumably, is similar in nature to Konoha's flying thunder god. Damn, there is such an ability, it is simply cheating. Your art is not bad, but too weak. After speaking, the kunai in Sasuke's hand pierced Deidara's throat directly. Don't give Deidara a chance at all. With such a simple blow, Devola was killed. Looking at Sasuke in front of him, Gaara seems to understand a truth now. For a person of Sasuke's level, it has passed the stage where it needs to be very cumbersome or some kind of ninjutsu to assist in killing the enemy. For Sasuke, perhaps a punch, a kick or a sword, chabe is actually not that big of a deal. It doesn't make any difference whether you use ninjutsu or don't use ninjutsu. Watching Deidara fall to the ground, Gaara breathed out silently. Deidara fell and then it was his turn. In any case, knowing that he is not an opponent, he still has to find a way to block Sasuke. This is Sand Shinobi. The tailed beast can never be taken away by Sasuke no matter what. And just when Sasuke looked at Gaara, he suddenly felt a dangerous breath. Beep. Deidara under his feet exploded instantly. The terrifying explosion directly swallowed Gaara tens of meters away. The moment the flame erupted, Sasuke directly used Flying Thunder God to disappear in place. And Gaara controlled the sand to defend against the impact of the explosion for the first time, but even so the power of the explosion still surprised Gaara. Because the flame storm produced by the explosion directly broke through his sand wall, and the aftermath of the explosion acted on his body, knocking him into the air. It hit the ground tens of meters away fiercely. The air seemed to vibrate for an instant, and a stream of smoke shot straight into the sky, and 100-meter-high smoke slowly rose. And at this moment in the explosion, Deidara twisted his neck and walked out slowly. It's horrible. It's so fast, it can kill me once in less than a minute. As expected of an almost invincible ninja, and this time Sasuke appeared again. Looking at Deidara in front of him, Sasuke frowned. Did you show your flaws on purpose just now? Hearing this, Deidara smiled. Guess. But it's a pity, it still can't hurt you. The ability to move instantly at any time is really a headache. It seems that the arrogance just now was just a faux pas. The purpose is to let oneself relax vigilance. Too bad he wanted to kill himself with a surprise explosion. But unfortunately failed. I am not such a careless person. If you want to sneak attack yourself, this guy is 100 years too early. Sasuke nodded slightly. Now there was a hint of appreciation in his calm eyes. Now Deidara is not only stronger, but also seems to have more brains. Even though he still knows how to use this tactic against himself. But it's a pity that this guy underestimated himself too much. At first I thought you were becoming an idiot, but now it seems that I was wrong. You still have some brains. Not too much though. Sasuke's words were both a compliment and a provocation, which made Deidara's face look a bit uneasy. Snort. Let you be arrogant now, and soon you will know that my uncle is amazing. Saying that, Deidara showed a smug smile. During the time I was talking to you, you have already fallen into my trap. Since the sneak attack was unsuccessful, let me show you the true power of my uncle Xinluang. The moment the voice fell, white snakes suddenly drilled out of the sand, and tangled towards Sasuke's body quickly. But unfortunately, when Sasuke's eyes trembled slightly, then a series of electric arcs appeared on Sasuke's body. Immediately, it turned into a thunderbolt 1,000 copies, directly piercing through the rushing white snakes in an instant. Nailed to the ground. Sasuke looked at Deidara indifferently. Is this what you call a trap? However, just after he finished speaking, there was a roar behind him, and a huge clay white broke out of the sand directly, opened its huge mouth and swallowed Sasuke in one gulp. But it also had no effect. Sasuke's fingertips lightly touched the top of the white snake's head. The current flowed instantly throughout the white snake's body. The fact that lightning style restrains detonating clay has not changed even now. There was a smile on Sasuke's face. Since that's the case, that's good. The moment he looked up at Deidara, a stream of cold sweat broke out on Deidara's forehead. This guy. Did he control lightning style to such an extent? Looking at the detonating clay on the ground penetrated by lightning style Qianban, what a terrifying control power. Sasuke was able to transform the lightning into such a shape in an instant. This guy is indeed just like what that person said, he is simply a monster among monsters. Thinking of this, Deidara's beginning seems very serious and focused. You can even see the sweat dripping from his forehead. The pressure to face Sasuke is not small. But at this moment Gaara got up from the ground. He felt that his body had been dumped. I didn't expect that just the aftermath of the explosion would have such power. Beep. Suddenly Deidara raised his arms. The palms of his hands were supposed to be mouths where he could chew the detonating clay. It was completely transformed into the barrel of some kind of shell. Continually shoot out clusters of detonating clay. And the moment these detonating clays were shot, they directly transformed into other appearances in the air. A swift bird, a swift wolf, and a huge one. With all kinds of shapes, it seems that within a dozen seconds, an entire zoo was directly transformed. While they were rushing towards Sasuke, Sasuke also stepped up directly, accelerating. Lightning style 1/2 speed. Flash. The moment the thunder and lightning broke out, Gaara's eyes flashed a little memory. In a trance, he remembered how helpless he was when he faced Sasuke's move. Even after a long period of time, I was immersed in this kind of fear, unable to get rid of Sasuke's shadow at all. Until Sasuke's speed was even called the #1 speed in the ninja world. Gaara was relieved. After all, isn't it asking for trouble to compare your own shortcomings with the strengths of others? Black's thunder shines. The flash of black light appeared again today. And amidst the shining black light, the detonating clay released by Deidara was frozen by lightning style almost instantly. Can't detonate at all. And Deidara's eyes were beating rapidly at the moment. He originally wanted to rely on the quantity, even if Sasuke made some of the detonating clay unable to detonate. But there is always something to detonate. As long as 1 out of 100 can explode, then the other detonating clays, even when suppressed by lightning style, will passively produce explosions. The power is also very amazing. In this way, he has the capital to fight Sasuke. But now, he discovered something even more terrifying. Looking at Sasuke, who came in a blink of an eye like a flash in front of him. Deidara forgot to even breathe. Behind him, Black's thunder dragged a long arc from a distance to here. Right now, the dense explosion clay behind Sasuke is actually being controlled by Sasuke with lightning style, and there is no way to respond. Moment. Sasuke actually controlled the lightning style at the same time, and used 1,000 copies of the previous lightning style to abolish thousands of detonating clay. What a terrible control this is. How is it possible for a man to have such amazing control, and how does he do it? Even relying on Sharingan, it is impossible to achieve this effect casually. This guy. Did he also use some kind of scientific ninja tool? At this moment, Deidara looked at Sasuke in front of him, and slowly pulled out the Kusanagi sword Shinba with his right hand. There was the sound of the blade rubbing against the scabbard. Deidara looked at the purple light on the blade. What kind of power is this? What a weird feeling. Sasuke stared at Deidara. You seem to have acquired some kind of immortality ability, but this ability should also have flaws. Sasuke smiled. I don't know where your core is. People with shell tissue, after being transformed, can resurrect themselves through the core. Each has a separate core. As long as only one core exists, even if the body is destroyed countless times. Also no issues at all. But on the contrary, as long as the nucleus is destroyed, then this person also means death. But judging from Deidara's performance just now, his core should not be on his body. Otherwise, the self-explosion after death will destroy the nucleus itself. So, there is a high probability that Deidara's core is nearby, but it is not easy to find it. So, Sasuke didn't plan to look for it either. I'll let you go this time, and I won't let you leave alive next time. After finishing speaking, he raised his knife and dropped it. Deidara's head was directly chopped off. At the same time, the thunder and lightning acted on Deidara's body, causing Deidara to be completely paralyzed by the lightning. Corpses can't self-explode. And at this moment, the little thing who opened his eyes somewhere had a frightened look in his eyes. This guy even has nuclear. Do you know? Is this the demeanor of the #1 ninja? The Uchiha Sasuke. Next time, I will be fully prepared to come to you again. Sasuke looked at Gaara beside him. The battle is over, and Deidara, who has become many times stronger, still can't last long in Sasuke's hands. And this battle, from the beginning to the end. Gaara saw only one thing, and that was that Sasuke's power control had reached an outrageous level. It's not simply suppressing with strength or chakra, or directly using some powerful technique. The scariest thing is that Sasuke can instantly generate countless thousands of copies with lightning style. Relying on these lightning style thousands of copies, Deidara's detonator can directly become an ornamental item. It doesn't work at all. In this case, this almost unilateral situation appeared. But now Sasuke looked at him. The meaning was very simple: get out of the way or get ready, stop him. And Gaara moved his hand a little, trying to block Sasuke. But can you stop it even if you do it yourself? Sasuke's power is simply not something he can stop. This guy is simply a monster. But if he didn't do anything, he just watched Sasuke pass by him. Gaara is also unacceptable. After making the decision, Gaara slowly closed her eyes, and the moment she opened them again, her aura became fierce. Sasuke sighed helplessly. Why do you like to do these useless things? Sighing, Sasuke raised his hand to control the accumulation of sand around him. Since Gaara wants to try, use his power to defeat him. In this way, this guy probably won't come back to bother me in the future. Seeing that Sasuke seems to be planning to use magnet style, this is also a kind of contempt for Gaara. Are you going to have a magnet-style contest with me? Then come on. Gaara doesn't believe that no matter how strong Sasuke is in the use of magnet style, it is absolutely impossible to compare with himself. Raise your hand and the sand surges, instantly forming a large number of fine sand balls, which shoot towards Sasuke. Sand sugar. The sand and gravel that flew in an instant swept towards Sasuke's direction. However, Sasuke just watched Gaara's attack lightly. Raising his hand, a thin sand wall appeared, easily blocking Gaara's attack. Seeing his own attack, even the thin sand wall that Sasuke casually formed couldn't break through. Gaara froze for a moment. The same magnet style, why Sasuke can do this? In the next second, Sasuke's gaze suddenly became much colder. Just raising his hand and holding it, the sand exploded from the ground in the next second, suddenly forming a huge arm, surrounding Gaara, directly wrapping Gaara in it in an instant. Sandbound. This was a move that Gaara was very familiar with. However, now that I feel this trick myself, it feels completely different. Powerless. A strong sense of powerlessness, as if any attack by Sasuke seemed useless. And even if it is the power that I am proud of, it has no effect at all. Sasuke's control over magnet style is no longer on the same level as himself. There is no way to dodge such an instant attack. And when did Sasuke use chakra to control the sand around his body? This kind of control ability is simply beyond the reach of normal ninjas. As Kazekage, you have tried your best, you tried to stop me, but it didn't work. Gaara. Let's call it a day. These tailed beasts don't belong to Sanagakure, they come from another time and space, and even the one-tail Shukaku that originally belonged to Sanagakure. Actually, it's just first Hokage Senju Hashirama, out of good intentions, to give it to you. It is said that the tail beast is a vital force in every village. But in fact, when Hashirama did this, it was to make other villages less afraid of sleepiness. It's not for any reason to ask other villages to help seal the tailed beast. At that time, Hashirama was basically invincible in the ninja world. In this case, he still has a huge killer like the 9-tailed beasts. This will make other villages huddle together for warmth, although it cannot threaten Konoha. But in the long run, Konoha will stand on the opposite side of other villages, which is very detrimental to Konoha's future. That's why Hashirama distributes tailed beasts and lets other villages buy them with money. Distributing tailed beasts in exchange for a brief peace. At the same time, it also allows other villages to temporarily feel at ease. Hearing Sasuke's words, Gaara froze in place, and the sand on her body gradually disappeared. When he recovered, Sasuke was gone. In the direction of 8 tails, Sasuke is approaching here. However, when Sasuke arrived, what he saw was an empty seal. 8 tails is gone. And Indra is gone. Only Sage of 6 Paths' younger brother, Asutsuki Hamura, is here. When Sasuke appeared, Hamura looked at Sasuke with anger. You bastard, how dare you lie to me? As he spoke, he directly attacked Sasuke. However, Sasuke didn't understand why Hamura suddenly became so angry. You killed mother. I will never forgive you. The truth-seeking balls in Hamura's hands were smashed one by one. It takes a lot of chakra to make this thing, but now Hamura has no scruples. It can be seen that Hamura seems really angry. At this moment, Hamura stared at Sasuke, as if he wanted to eat Yuichi alive. Very scary. When Sasuke heard what Hamura said, he froze for a moment. Killed Kagaya himself, so be it. But how did Hamura know about this? And what about Indra and 8 tails? Just when Sasuke wanted to ask. Suddenly Sasuke saw a figure standing on the stone not far away. Looking towards this side, but the next second he disappeared directly. The moment the other party disappeared, Sasuke felt the breath of Indra. That person was not Indra, but the moment that person opened the space channel, Indra's breath came out. What the hell does this happen? During the fierce battle between Sasuke and Deidara. In the direction of 8 tails, Indra was chasing Hamura. Want to stop Hamura from taking 8 tails. However, when the two came here, they saw a group of people preparing to take 8 tails away. Both Hamura and Indra are going to do it directly. However, Hamura was trapped by something that suddenly appeared, and was directly locked in a certain barrier. And Indra should have moved a little faster, avoiding the seal of the enchantment. The person in front of him looks at Indra. You are the son of the Sage of 6 Paths, Asutsuki Indra, aren't you? The strength is very good, and the potential is also very strong. Your reincarnation, Uchiha Sasuke, is quite powerful. Perhaps you are not too bad. How about it? Why don't you give it a try and try to surpass everything like Uchiha Sasuke? I'll give you a choice. Join us. let you get the possibility of surpassing everything, or stay and be your loser. No matter how much you deny it, you once failed, and you were defeated by your brother. It was completely unacceptable for Indra to lose at the hands of his younger brother. Because from childhood, he always wins, he is a genius and his younger brother Ashura is just a talented common guy. He is not as good as him at all, ninja can give him everything, and Indra doesn't care at all. But losing to Ashura was unacceptable to Indra. At the same time, what is even more unacceptable is that Uchiha Sasuke, who had the same experience, surpassed their father by his own strength. Since Uchiha Sasuke can do it, so must he. Thinking of this, Indra looked at each other. I'm going with you, I hope you don't let me down. But at the same time, in another place, it's Cloud Shinobi Village. Madara looked at the person in front of her, Sage of Six Paths. This is the creation of ninja sect in Legendary, it can almost be said to have created the existence of ninja world. Just feeling this power makes Madara feel refreshed, what a desirable existence. I must also become a rival existence, pity. The current self can't reach this height at all. Madara at this moment is Madara who has not yet fought a decisive battle with Hashirama. She is proud but has not yet determined her ambition. According to the original development, Madara's final goal is to create a peaceful ninja world. But now Madara has changed, he saw the Sage of Six Paths, and his heart changed. As the saying goes, if you haven't seen it, you won't think about it, and after seeing it, you will leave an indelible seed in your heart. Having seen Sasuke, that was a height Madara felt she could never reach, but seeing the Sage of Six Paths was different. This kind of feeling to him is that as long as he raises his hand and tries hard to step on his feet, he can touch the height. This is exciting. You seem to be planning to take back Six Tails. Suddenly a voice sounded behind Madara. Madara was not too surprised, he sensed it when the other party came. Snort. With a cold snort, Madara ignored him, and just looked at Third Raikage who was fighting Sage of Six Paths in the distance. Although Third Raikage can be considered powerful, but in the face of Sage of Six Paths, it is not an opponent at all. The other party was completely teasing him from beginning to end. Do you want power? Uchiha Madara. Hearing this, Madara turned around and looked back at the person who came. This guy was wearing a mask and his body was wrapped in Black's cloak. Doesn't look like a nice guy. Can you help me become stronger? Madara asked very calmly. At this moment, the other party nodded seriously. Yes, we can help you to a higher level and make your strength stronger, and in history, your strength is far from what it is now. At least for now, you haven't awakened Rinnegan, we can help you awaken. Hearing this, a smile appeared on Madara's face. Good. What price do I have to pay? You don't need to pay anything, you don't need to pay anything. We are just very grateful for everything you have done for Jiegui. This is just a tribute to you. Is it really just to repay yourself? Madara would never believe such words. Looking at this person coldly, Madara's face was expressionless. It's just that without saying a word, it gives people a lot of pressure. Let the guy with the mask on the opposite side sigh helplessly. It can only be said that it is Mr. Madara, the momentum is too strong. Okay. To be honest, there is indeed a purpose, but it also depends on your personal wishes. We want to deal with Konoha. If Konoha blocks what you want to do after you regain your strength, maybe we will become allies. If you don't want to deal with Konoha, then at least we ask you not to be our enemy. It's one less enemy. This reason made Madara barely able to accept it. Now it seems that I can go and see with you. As for whether there will be any danger after following the other party to a certain place, Madara is confident that there is no problem. Both Madara and Indra had different changes in their thinking. This can't be helped, after all, they are not one-sided like Yuma or Ashura. There are many changes in the mind. And at the moment Sasuke and Sanagakure, looking at Hamura in front of him. The killing intent released by the opponent was very strong. At the same time, the gaze looking at him is as if he wants to eat himself in one bite. Sasuke was a little speechless. Are you really sure you want to face me in this state? Sasuke is not used to being soft on enemies with killing intent. You killed your mother, I will never let you go. No one could stop you before, but now that I'm here, don't even try to escape. I am absolutely. I will never forgive you. As he said that, Hamura directly started to act, and the explosion broke out in an instant. After all, it was not too different from Sage of Six Paths. His strength should not be underestimated, but Sasuke gently raised his hand, bang bang. Block the opponent's fist with your elbow. Standing still. Although the ground couldn't bear the impact and split open, Yumura's eyes instantly expanded. He looked very surprised. She didn't expect Sasuke to actually block it. And it blocked his own attack so easily and simply. Your mother was not killed by me. Sasuke doesn't want to entangle with Hamura, now he wants to find out where Indra is. However, Hamura sneered when he heard this, and then stared at Sasuke with cold eyes. Although mother was not killed by you, you took away her power and caused her to die. The culprit is still you. Alright. If so, then Sasuke has nothing to say. Then you can only do it. With a cold light in Sasuke's eyes, he directly grabbed Hamura's fist. Then let's fight. Beep. The moment he grabbed Hamura's fist, Sasuke dragged his body directly, and the fist of the other hand blasted out instantly. A solid bombardment struck Hamura's abdomen. With the powerful power and the instant burst of chakra, the four seasons felt as if the internal organs exploded in an instant. There seemed to be a stream of blood in the throat that was about to gush out. For an instant, Hamura gritted his teeth fiercely. The chakra in the body erupted suddenly. Boom. Directly with an incomparably pure posture, chakra is sprayed out from all parts of the body. The same skill is revolving heaven, but the way Hamura uses it is more aggressive. Explode directly. Sasuke was sent flying by chakra, retreating a distance of more than 10 meters before slowly stopping. After stabilizing his figure, Sasuke patted himself on the shoulder lightly. Chakra shock. Although Yumura's white eyes did not evolve into Tensigan, the power inherited by Yumura seems to be more inclined to the Asutsuki family, the extremely pure power of Asutsuki. Asshole. Hamura cursed. Opening his hands in an instant, the truth-seeking ball was suddenly condensed. It seems that compared to Sage of Six Paths, Hamura seems to have better control over Yin-Yang Dun. Such a master at making truth-seeking balls. The truth-seeking ball followed Hamura's movements and shot towards Sasuke. Sasuke held the hilt of the Kusanagi sword with one hand. It seems that if you don't let you suffer, you don't know who is in charge here. Moment. Hamura suddenly felt completely different from before. Sasuke's aura suddenly became a little scary. Let him feel the tremendous pressure. This feeling is like the horror of facing my mother back then. The suffocating sense of oppression swept across in an instant, making Hamura's body tremble involuntarily. Impossible. Can this guy's strength be compared with his mother's? An angry look flickered in Hamura's eyes, even so he would never back down. Raise your hand. Chakra gathered instantly to form a fist like a substance, and directly bombarded in the direction of Sasuke. This knockdown is what makes Sasuke's eyes shine, it's like Yashikami's Sora. However, what Hamura used is not the real Yashigami airstrike, it can only be regarded as a little superficial. However, if Yukin, who has the top-level white-eyed bloodline, really wants to master the trick of Yashigami empty strike, the only thing he needs is to polish his own chakra to ultimate. As for the others, it shouldn't be a big problem for him. And at this moment Sasuke pulled out the Kusanagi sword in 27 seconds. The moment the knife was pulled out, the blade sliced across the air, and a chopping wave in the state of half a moon appeared. The burst of purple light instantly split Hamura's attack in two, and at the same time, it took advantage of the trend to wreak havoc in the direction of Hamura. The light surged. Yu-kun hurriedly dodges, bang bang. The slash instantly left a long crack on the ground behind Hamura. Looking at the crack, Hamura swallowed silently. So strong. A casual knife can explode this kind of power unexpectedly, and that knife is also extremely impressive. Hamura frowned and turned a truth-seeking ball into a fairy staff. To Sasuke. It seems that he intends to have a contest of weapons with Sasuke. But Sasuke sneered. Holding the knife with one hand, an astonishing thunder and lightning flowed from the blade in an instant. Thunder breath. One type. Thunderbolt flash. The speed of the instant explosion surprised Yumura, who was about to make a move. He only saw a terrifying light erupting from Sasuke's body, followed by flashes of thunder and lightning, and it was already attacking him straightly. And his body seemed to be frozen, and there was no way to resist at all. It's not that his body is fixed, but that Sasuke's speed is too fast, he doesn't have any strength to fight back at all. He could only watch Sasuke's attack fall on him in an instant. Thunder and lightning roared, and blood burst out. When Yumura came back to his senses, he found a deep bone crack appeared on his shoulder. Feel the pain coming. Hamura couldn't believe it. What kind of trick is that? In an instant, even chakra's fluctuations hadn't had time to erupt. Sasuke launched an attack directly, and the speed of the explosion was so terrifying. What a terrifying knife bed to easily defeat him with a single blow. You don't understand, I don't have time to waste with you. Turning around, Sasuke's attack broke out again. Thunder and lightning roared, and this time it was farther away than the previous movement. In the sky, Black's thunder fell from the sky. It fell straight on Sasuke's body, and the next second was accompanied by the black thunder falling down. Sasuke actually disappeared directly. The moment it reappeared, it was already behind Hamura. Breath of thunder. 3 types. Mosquitoes gather into thunder. In an instant, countless slashes landed on Hamura's body, and black's thunder and lightning raged. Walking around him, Yumura watched in horror as the immortal tin staff in his hand shattered in the next second. And then there was a terrible pain in his body. The pain of tearing, the pain of the wound being paralyzed by lightning. He has never encountered an enemy like Sasuke, and he himself is not at the same level as Sasuke. It even seems to have surpassed the mother, and even the mother may not necessarily be able to collide head-on with Sasuke. This speed, this power, this terrifying fighting power. No wonder this guy was able to kill his own mother. Beep. Hamura fell to his knees on the ground, his body was covered with wounds, and at the same time his body was paralyzed by lightning style, he couldn't move for a while. Can only look at Sasuke like this. And Sasuke slowly put away his Kusanagi sword. Slowly walking in the direction of Yukon, looking at Yukon in front of him. Raising his hand, a black stick pierced through Hamura's body instantly, followed by a series of black sticks piercing through Hamura's body. Coupled with the power of the sealing technique, it is impossible for Hamura to have the power to resist even after the paralyzing effect of lightning style ends. Now, I'll ask you an answer. Hearing Sasuke's words, Motomura smiled coldly. You think I will behave according to what you said? That's true, Hamura seems to be a guy with a lot of backbone. Even though he teamed up with his eldest brother to seal his mother, he chose to stay with Otsutsuki Kagaya on the moon forever. Instead of completely treating his mother as an unforgivable enemy like Sage of Six Paths. Who told you that I killed Otsutsuki Kagaya? Hearing this, Hamura was stunned for a moment. This is what Sasuke wanted to ask at this time. Originally, Hamura thought that Sasuke would ask him about other things, but he didn't expect Sasuke to ask this. Frowned. He looked at Sasuke with some doubts. Is this someone who wants to recruit informers to settle accounts? You never wondered why the other party told you that I killed Otsutsuki Kagaya. In fact, I didn't kill Otsutsuki Kagaya. If you don't believe what I say, listen to what other people say. Now I want you to tell me who told you the news. Did anyone else show up just now? They took away from 8 Tails, right? Hearing what Sasuke said, Hamura suddenly felt something was wrong. Yes. The opponent took 8 Tails away. Didn't he clearly hope that he would delay Sasuke so that they could take 8 Tails away? Hateful. Be cheated. What happened to his mother made him unable to think calmly. But the mother seems to have really fought with Sasuke, and Sasuke seems to have the reason for her death in the end. Thinking of this, Hamura struggled for a while. While thinking about whether to tell Sasuke, a bird flew in the sky suddenly. This kind of special summoned beast for transmission is rare in this era. And the eagle fell straight towards Sasuke. Sasuke raised his hand to catch the opponent, and took out a letter from the mailbox on his feet. Take it apart and see what's inside. Sasuke was stunned for a moment. Just at this time, Konoha encountered a major crisis. Otsutsuki Toneri is destroying Konoha crazily. Although Naruto rushed back to stop it, the power of the Toneri is indeed terrifying. In order to protect Konoha from being destroyed by the attack of the Toneri, which caused a large number of civilian deaths, Naruto resisted the attack from the Tonrin. Now it is seriously injured, and what's worse, Shuren actually extracted the tailed beast from Naruto's body. Chakra, who forcibly absorbed the tailed beast, combined with Otsutsuki, who combined the tailed beast chakra, and now, the strength has increased dramatically. With the blood of Otsutsuki, it is not weak in itself, and it also opens a special Tensigen. Mastered the power not inferior to Sage of Six Paths, but now also absorbs the chakra of the tailed beast. This. Between Otsutsuki Toneri and tailed beast chakra, I don't know what will happen. Thinking of this, Sasuke couldn't help becoming worried. He glanced at Otsutsuki Hamura in front of him. If you don't believe me, then I will take you to see what the world looks like now. Saying that, Sasuke raised his hand and directly grabbed Hamura, and the next second, Tien's hand force was directly activated. Sasuke disappeared instantly. Although there is no way to directly let Sasuke transfer directly from Sanagakure to Konoha village. But, with the current strength of Sasuke, he is completely able to use his hand strength frequently and continuously. Constant flickering, constant teleportation, Hamura was stunned. Sasuke still has such power, such crazy teleportation, if it is used as an assistant in the battle commander. I'm afraid he has already been killed by Sasuke. It is impossible for him to have any resistance at all, in the continuous teleportation. Sasuke was approaching Konoha at an extremely fast speed. And this time, because and when, Naruto was carried by Shikamaru and quickly swept towards the distance. In order to protect the villagers, Naruto used his body to block the attack of the caster. If it wasn't for this, Naruto wouldn't be what it is now. The tail beast in the body is drawn out in succession: 3 tails, 6 tails, 7 tails, 8 tails. Although there are 1 tail, 2 tails, 4 tails, 5 tails, and 9 tails left. But losing so many tailed beasts all at once made it worse for Naruto, who was already injured. Although not fatal, it is completely impossible for Naruto to recover for a while. Shikamaru took Naruto to escape, and Naruto must not make any mistakes, otherwise Konoha would become dangerous at this time. Hokage was injured and unconscious in order to protect the village, and the ninjas in Sleepy Leaf are desperately blocking a Sutsuki Toneri. Even Might Guy was planning to make a move in this situation, but it was a pity that he was knocked unconscious by a casual blow from Sharon. Guy, who didn't even have time to activate the 8 inner gates, declared the end before it even started. The villages are completely useless against a Sutsuki who has absorbed the tailed beast chakra. Sharon, who originally turned on the Tensigan chakra mode, has amazing power after absorbing the tailed beast chakra. His appearance has changed. He was originally covered in green light, but now he has changed into red light. Wrapped all over by Red's chakra, his aura has become even more astonishing. Even Sharon and Tensigan seem to have changed. Originally blue and white eyes, now bred a faint gold light. A gold Tensigan, is this a sign of opening your eyes? Sharon was very surprised. He never thought that chakra, the absorbing tail beast, could still have such a situation. It turns out that gold's turning eyes do not necessarily require a lot of white eyes to open. The tailed beast chakra also has the effect of increasing pupil power and making the pupil technique evolve. If this is the case, then he will have to find a way to absorb more tail beast chakra. Greed flashed in Sharon's eyes. The expression also changed from the original calm to a lot more ferocious. Let Tensigan evolve so that his power can be improved to a higher level, and at the same time, he can also destroy this failed world, thus creating a better new world. But creating a new world can't just rely on him alone, and the eyes of others shrank in the crowd of Konoha shinobi followers. He quickly locked his eyes on Uchiha Sarada. Uchiha Sarada, who has the same excellent bloodline, although her eyes are not supercilious, the potential contained in Uchiha Sarada's Sharingan in the eyes of Sharon far exceeds that of others. And it's a little girl, which is great. It is very suitable to be in existence to create the new world with him. Sharon Direct Strike uses a powerful impact to blow all the ninjas around. He rushed straight in the direction of Uchiha Sarada. Stretching out his hand, he wanted to grab Uchiha Sarada. However, Boruto appeared in the next second, directly blocking Uchiha Sarada's front. If you want to touch her, ask me first, puff. Sharon raised his hand to manipulate a stone, which pierced through Boruto's chest instantly. Get in the way. Although Boruto's eyes seem to hide a very good power, but in comparison, Zorana is more in line with the requirements of Sharon. Looking at the blood flower that exploded in the air, Uchiha Sarada's eyes narrowed slightly. At the same time, all the Konoha shinobi were stunned. Hokage's son. Killed? Seeing Boruto lying in a pool of blood, Uchiha Sarada's face turned pale instantly. Die. Such words originally felt very far away from them, but I didn't expect that it would happen in front of her eyes like this. Boruto. Zorana opened her mouth and softly called Boruto's name, but Boruto didn't respond. Even breathing becomes weaker and weaker, seeing that he was about to lose his breath. At this time, Sharon came to Uchiha Sarada. You are special. With me, destroy this failed world and create a brand new world. Saying that, Sharon looked at the distraught Uchiha Sarada, and glanced at Boruto on the ground lightly. This guy's death deserves no mercy, come with me. Uchiha Sarada, who was in grief, suddenly raised her head to look at Sharon. This moment, the 3 Tomo Sharingan opens instantly, and then the patterns appear new changes in an instant. Boom. For an instant, invisible ripples spread directly around Uchiha Sarada. Mangekyo Sharingan, open. Sarana, who directly opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, was burning with anger in her eyes. Purple's flame is burning. It rises slowly from the bottom of the feet, and in the blink of an eye, it condenses and transforms into a huge monster. Susanoo. The Susanoo rising from the ground, although not yet a complete body, is just a skeleton. But it still exudes amazing power. Sharon was stunned for a moment. Not bad talent. Unexpectedly discovered part of the potential of these eyes so quickly. It seems that this person's death is not completely useless. At least it brought you some changes, so his death is still meaningful. Hearing this, Uchiha Sarada was even more angry. Does Boruto's death only have such a little meaning in this guy's mouth? Unforgivable. Boom. In an instant, Susanoo raised his fist and directly smashed it down. At this instant, Sharon just raised his head slightly, staring at Susanoo's fist. Susanoo's fist stopped immediately. Be anchored. The strong repulsion made Uchiha Sarada's Susanoo attack completely unable to go any further. Although you have awakened part of the potential of these eyes, they are still too weak after all. It's impossible to resist me. If there are high and low pupil skills, your pupil technique is just a low-level pupil technique, and it is not at the same level as my high-level pupil technique Tensigen. My pupil technique is superior to all pupil techniques. Your pupil technique is just a low-level bloodline formed by the hybridization of a Sutsuki bloodline and human bloodline. Want to use this power against me? Sharon sneered. You think too much. Saying that, Sharon raised his hand and waved, and the repulsive force exploded instantly, directly smashing Uchiha Sarada's Susanoo instantly. Disintegrated by Susanoo with a flick of the hand. Before Uchiha Sarada had time to feel the power of Susanoo, she was directly obliterated by Sharon. The backlash of Tongli made Uchiha Sarada couldn't help but almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. Staring at the man in front of him, the other's eyes glowed with a faint gold light. It really makes people feel a huge sense of oppression. Do you understand now? Sharon felt that letting Uchiha Sarada recognize the reality might allow Uchiha Sarada to accept her next fate. But Uchiha Sarada looked up at the Sharon. Is Sharingan a low-level pupil technique? Even if it is a low-level pupil technique, it will never lose to a guy like you. Speaking of which, Uchiha Sarada seems to be planning to forcibly urge Susanoo, as a person who has just awakened Mangekyo Sharingan. Her current control over Mangekyo Sharingan is still very weak. In this case, activating the ability forcibly at times will cause considerable damage to the eyes. Especially in the case that she has not activated the fourth hook Jade, she only activates Mangekyo Sharingan in a state of 3 or 4 pressures. The effect is the same as the previous Uchiha clan. The more you use this power, the more it will be sealed. And this time when the semi-complete Susanoo was turned on, Uchiha Sarada directly controlled Susanoo and punched her fiercely towards Sharon. The surrounding Konoha shinobi followers all showed surprise expressions when they saw that the 12-year-old girl Zarana had activated the Mangekyo Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. After all, the Uchiha clan was not visible before. But since Sasuke appeared, Uchiha Itachi shot in public. The terrifying power of the Uchiha clan has been known by many Konoha people. It turns out that the Uchiha clan of Konoha is so powerful, once the Mangekyo Sharingan of the Uchiha clan is activated, it is equivalent to possessing the power of Hokage level. And Zarana is only 12 years old, but she is only genin, and she has opened Mangekyo, a genius girl. Boom. Accompanied by a fierce roar, Susanoo was half complete, with only the upper body remaining. Although she was only in a half-complete state, her strength was equally astonishing. In this case, half of the people can't stop it. However, for Tonerto, Susanoo's attack was easily blocked with just one finger. It seems that you still don't understand that the blood flowing through your body is just an inferior blood to me. Your pupil technique is just a low-level pupil technique. It is absolutely impossible to fight against my high-level pupil technique. After speaking, Sharon directly urged chakra to explode, and it exploded directly, and a terrifying storm swept across. In an instant, Uchiha Sarada and Susanoo were rushed out together. I'm afraid Uchiha Sarada can't continue to maintain Susanoo's state. He even fell into a coma directly. The body was like a falling kite, and it quickly fell towards the ground in the distance. Seeing her falling from a height of tens of meters, if no one catches her, she may be seriously injured. Maybe even die straight away. Some ninjas reacted and wanted to make a move, but it was too late. It looked like it was about to fall to the ground. At this moment, a pair of hands suddenly appeared and gently caught the falling Uchiha Sarada. And with a gorgeous turn around, Uchiha Sarada was slowly placed on the ground behind her. The moment they saw this figure, the surrounding Konoha shinobi were slightly taken aback. At the same time, Naruto, who was taken away by Shikamaru, also slowly opened his eyes. Finally came back. Shikamaru, Naruto, are you awake? However, after saying a word, Naruto closed his eyes again. Sharon looked at the person who suddenly appeared in front of him. The pupil shrunk slightly, and this one Sasuke turned his head slowly. Looking at Asutsuki, you said just now, Sharingan is a low-level pupil technique, right? Hearing this, Sharon was stunned for a moment, then nodded his head and looked at Sasuke with certainty. So what? Feeling that Sasuke also has a similar aura to Uchiha Sarada, Both of them are obviously human beings who have fused the blood of a Sasuke. Then I will show you how the so-called low-level pupil technique can easily solve your high-level pupil technique. After speaking, Sasuke directly opened Sharingan. 8 Goyu's Sharingan. 8 Tomo slowly turns in the eyes. When Sasuke opened his eyes, even the pupil power generated directly pushed the air to swing. The turmoil that erupted surprised the surrounding Konoha shinobi followers. A sense of oppression far stronger than Sharin's suddenly erupted. They looked at Sasuke from the direction they felt the pressure coming from. Those red eyes don't look like low-level pupil techniques at all. Sharin's nerves tensed up instantly. Sasuke has a different feeling from others, and there is only one feeling for him, which is very, very dangerous. The man in front of him is very powerful. What? You look a little unconfident. Sasuke's words made the veins on Toneri's forehead burst suddenly. A mere lowly creature dares to be so arrogant. I will let you understand that lowly creatures will never be able to compare with me who has a high bloodline. Saying that she shot, the truth-seeking ball instantly condensed, covered with red chakra light, and shot directly towards Sasuke. However, Sasuke stood there without any movement. Just the direct explosion of pupil power in the pupils forced Sharin's truth-seeking ball to stop. Then he looked at Toneri. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly, and Amaterasu burst into flames in an instant. Black's flames directly covered Sharin, even forming a cloud of Black's flames in the air. Sharin was stunned for a moment. This pupil technique is amazing. But for him, he only needs to absorb it. Tensigan absorbs these Amaterasu flames directly. However, in the next second, Sharin once again condensed numerous truth-seeking balls in an instant. The power of your eyes is indeed amazing. It seems that the low blood is not without the possibility of a genius. Is it just genius? Sasuke doesn't think so, because his Sharingan has completely surpassed the Asutsuki family. Beyond the bloodline of the Asutsuki family, the Sharingan is the real high bloodline if we really talk about high and low. Even Sasuke himself doesn't know if there will be any incredible changes when his Sharingan evolves into the Juguyu Sharingan. But Sasuke had a hunch that to reach that point, he had to swallow the fruit of the sacred tree. The fruit of the God tree is not only power, it is more like a key, the key to open the door of God. Looking at the person in front of him, Sasuke suddenly felt that he had found the right candidate. The person in front of him seems to be very suitable to be sacrificed to 10 tails. Asutsuki excitement flashed in Sasuke's eyes. Staring at Asutsuki Toneri, Sasuke saw the gold light welling up in Toneri's eyes. This guy's Tensigan seems to have evolved to gold. This is quite remarkable, to be able to evolve Tensigan to the gold level. This situation really surprised Sasuke. Gold's Tensigan after all. The power of the eyes also seems to be pretty good. Sasuke smiled, not to mention that the Tensigan of the Sharin has become gold. Even if it is not gold, Sasuke is very interested. After all, this is the existence of Tensigan not weaker than Rinnegan. So it's normal to want to get these eyes. Integrating the power of Tensigan into his Sharingan, I don't know if it will make his Sharingan also have special changes. Thus unlocking new powers. Thinking of this, Sasuke himself is looking forward to it. Sharin noticed that Sasuke looked at him, and the greedy colors seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. What does this guy want to do? Why are you looking at yourself like this? Thinking of this, Sharin felt a little uneasy, but in the next second Sasuke's attack had already broken out. There simply wasn't that much time for him to think too much. Sasuke, who made a sudden move, held the Kusanagi sword in his hand, and slashed wildly at Sharin. As soon as the knife fell, Purple's light instantly turned into shockwaves, which rushed towards Sharin with incomparable explosive force. The air surged, and the astonishing ripples completely shook the ground. Eye-catching cracks emerged on the cracked ground, and Sharin crossed his hands in front of him. But Sasuke's blade fell, slashing at his arms, though protected by chakra. Or the double protection of tailed beast chakra superimposed Tensigan chakra. But even if he wasn't injured, Sharin was suddenly sent flying. The moment the body was ejected like a cannonball. Sharin looked at Sasuke with wide eyes in disbelief. He didn't understand why Sasuke's power suddenly became so amazing. The power of slashing with a knife is as terrifying as a mountain. Sharin, who had just landed and hadn't had time to stand still, blinked. In the next second, Sasuke's figure flashed to his right again. A straight knife slashed fiercely towards his forehead. And this knife is too late to defend. The blade hit his head directly, but Sharin's reaction was also very quick. He directly exploded the strength of Tensigan, and while Tensigan's strength resisted the impact, both tailed beast chakra and Tensigan chakra also erupted. Under the resistance of the triple force, the group completely blocked Sasuke's attack. However, due to the huge force, Sharon slid back a distance of more than 10 meters one after another. Smoke rose instantly. All Konoha Shinobi fans were dumbfounded. So fast. So strong. The shot just now was Sasuke's completely unreasonable violent slash. It was so abrupt that Sharon was forced to look like he had no power to fight back. How can this be? How on earth did this guy do it? Moreover, Sasuke's figure flickered continuously, without any trace of movement at all. Just like now, Sharon also discovered this, and he stared at Sasuke firmly. But in the next second, the blade trembled and made a pleasant knife sound. At this moment, Sharon quickly turned his head and looked to his right. The blade was already very close to him. Beep. With one strike, Sharon had no time to defend this time. The whole person was hit directly. Zigwang Chakra breaks through the protection of Open Tail Beast Chakra and Tensigan Chakra, and directly hits the general to the perfect striker. Sharon's body was rolling and bouncing like a ball, and shot towards the distance. After crashing several houses one after another, it slowly stopped. Sasuke had a smile on his face. The reaction is still a bit slow. Higher existence, master of the Atsutsuki clan. Hearing Sasuke's sarcasm, the faces of everyone in the ruins were very ugly. He raised his hand and touched the bloodstain on his brow. He was hurt, but he didn't expect that he was really hurt. Wounded by a lesser creature. How can this be? Thinking of Sharon's face became more and more gloomy. Although Sasuke's blade hit him, it didn't cause any serious damage, but it did hurt him. Although the wound is healing itself, it will soon return to its original state. But that doesn't mean it's safe. This means that Sasuke was completely wounded by enough force to hurt him. If he is not careful, he will probably be killed by Sasuke in the next battle. He is just a mere human being, with only low-level blood and low-level pupil skills. Why can he be hurt? Whatever can hurt him. Sharon's anger continued to burn. Rush straight out of the ruins. The fierce light that erupted from Sharon's eyes seemed to devour everyone. But this time Sasuke was just the opposite, looking at Sharon indifferently. Sasuke frowned when he found out that the opponent's injuries had recovered. It seems that Chakra, the tailed beast, gave Sharon the ability to heal himself, but self-healing does not mean invincibility. There was a dark light in Sasuke's eyes. Raise your hand, and the truth-seeking balls appeared one after another. Since it has self-healing ability, use truth-seeking ball to attack for a long time. Watching Sasuke condense the truth-seeking ball, Sharon is not far behind, also creating a large piece of truth-seeking ball. Both sides are surrounded by a truth-seeking ball. The shaking truth-seeking ball seemed to emit some kind of fluctuation, which made the surrounding airflow intense. There was a smile on Sasuke's face, and a dark light flickered in his eyes. In the next second, he waved his hand, and the truth-seeking ball was launched directly. Instantly shot in the direction of Sharon. The same Sharon also waved his arms, controlling the truth-seeking ball to shoot towards Sasuke. The collision of truth-seeking ball and truth-seeking ball. However, when Sharon thought this way, suddenly Sasuke's truth-seeking ball seemed to disappear in the air. Immediately afterwards, Sasuke swung the Kusanagi sword, raised the blade, and began to slash crazily at the truth-seeking ball bursting from the air, one knife after another continuously. The blade burst into sparks. The truth-seeking ball was easily blocked by Sasuke. On the side of Sharon, he didn't understand what method Sasuke used to make his truth-seeking ball disappear. All those vanished truth-seeking balls went to where? However, in the next second, each of the truth-seeking balls turned into thousands of books. It appeared not far from him in an instant. When the first 1,000 roots penetrated Sharon's body, Hanren only reacted in an instant. However, it was too late to defend and avoid. Thousands of densely packed truth-seeking balls instantly hit Sharon. Tie Sharon directly into a living hedgehog. Seeing Tenedo looked at Sasuke in shock. What is he? When Sharon was surprised, a knife suddenly appeared and wounded his neck. Sasuke smiled. It's so weak, Sharon. Is this the power of a superior person? Watching the Atsutsuki Toneri being restrained. The truth-seeking ball for the common people will disappear instantly when touched, but for the Atsutsuki Sharon. Otherwise, such a situation will not occur, but the truth-seeking ball pierces into the body, and it is also uncomfortable. Strength will be greatly affected. Sasuke walked slowly towards the Sasuke. But Sharon looked at Sasuke who was walking towards him, his face became very gloomy. Struggling to stand up, the tailed beast chakra exploded against Sasuke, but in the next second Sasuke just flicked it lightly, and immediately wiped out all the chakra who had given up. Sharon looked at Sasuke dumbfounded. Why are you able to absorb chakra at will? The ability to absorb chakra, logically speaking, should only be from the Asutsuki family. No. To be precise, it should only be used by the Asutsuki clan whose strength reaches the 6 paths level. Why Sasuke also is just a lowly creature mixed with human and Asutsuki blood? Why? How can he master this power? Suddenly Sasuke raised his hand and directly grabbed the man by the jaw, lifting the playman from the ground. Looking at the person in front of him, Sasuke's eyes flickered with a dark light. Divine Spirit activates the power of the Tensigan who is stripping Sharon. But at the same time, Sasuke didn't want to attract the attention of the caster, so he said, "You think only Asutsuki is noble, right? Perhaps the power of human beings is not as good as Asutsuki, but after merging with the Asutsuki family, it may produce a more noble existence. And this being is Uchiha. Uchiha. Has a bloodline that surpasses Asutsuki. Beyond Asutsuki. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This is something that is unlikely to happen anyway. It's just a mere human. How could it be stronger than the Asutsuki family? Impossible. You're just lowly humans." Speaking of the veins on Sharon's forehead erupting, the whole person seemed to have suddenly turned into a crazy beast. Want to break free from Sasuke's shackles? A straight punch hit Sasuke's face. It is powerful, and with the chakra of the upper-tailed beast, this blow just broke out. Suddenly there was a terrifying fluctuation. And under this fluctuation, it is naturally impossible for Sasuke to catch Sharon again. At the same time, with the strong shockwave released by Tensigan, Sasuke was directly knocked out. But in the air, Sasuke's eyes flashed fiercely. Just a moment ago, Sasuke was using the power of the God Spirit to deprive the sacrificed person. But it was suddenly interrupted by Sharon. This made Sasuke a little angry. Dishonest? Then let you just stay there. Thinking of this, Sasuke broke out directly, because of Lee. Appeared directly behind Sharon. The Kusanagi sword was pulled out, and then instantly pierced the Sharon, and instantly penetrated the Sharon's body. A ball of blood exploded, and then praised him for his body. Sasuke disappeared again. Appearing on the top of Sharon's head, holding the head of Sharon with both hands, he hit the heavy-bearing knee and hit the forehead of Sharon in an instant. Let Sharon faint in an instant. And Sasuke's attacks haven't stopped yet. Sasuke, who was floating in the air and stopped instantly, opened his hands. Black's thunder suddenly raged out, crackling. It directly hit the Sharon below, paralyzing the whole body of the Sharon. Immediately afterwards, the purple light chakra emerged. One after another, like purple lightsabers falling from the sky, one after another, they penetrated Sharon's body. Sasuke raised his hand. Black's flames converged in his hand, and the next second it aimed directly at Sharon to form an arrow. Susanoo also appeared suddenly, and the arrow shot out, waiting for the fire of Amaterasu to penetrate the body of the person in an instant. A series of astonishing attacks broke out, and the whole person was completely enveloped in it. Let out a fierce roar. The ninjas who saw this scene also gasped involuntarily. Sasuke's sudden outburst surprised them all. This series of attacks is simply jaw-dropping. It is unimaginable to be hit by these attacks one after another. In other words, the common people are already dead. However, the current Sharon does not seem to be so serious. But in the face of Sasuke's successive blows, Sharon was completely powerless to fight back. In the next second, Toneri turned his head to look at Sasuke. Sasuke stared at the Sasuke with both eyes, and directly grabbed the Sasuke's neck with one hand. Afterwards, Sharon was lifted up. The spirit of the gods activated again. Sharon struggled. But this time the movement of the struggle was much smaller. Sasuke did not directly deprive the Tensigan of the person, but first erased all the chakra of the guest. Deprive the tailed beast chakra directly. Losing the tailed beast chakra, Sharon's breath suddenly became very weak. Then Tensigan chakra was also stripped. Then Sasuke started stripping the Tensigan. The pupil technique that has evolved into a gold Tensigan, the power it contains is indeed extraordinary. Sasuke felt some difficulties for the first time when using the god spirit to deprive the power, and there seemed to be some kind of resistance when depriving the king of this power. This surprised Sasuke a bit. However, although there are some resistances, it is not too difficult in the final analysis. It just takes a little more time. It was too late for Sharon to feel his Tensigan power disappearing bit by bit. When Tensigan's power is completely deprived by Sasuke, Sharon's eyes dimmed and returned to Kamen's white eyes. However, when he looked at Sasuke, his eyes had turned into fear. This man. Take away his strength and his proud history. How did he do it? Sharon wanted to open his mouth to say something. In the next second, Sasuke let go of his hand, and the powerful sealing power erupted directly, and Tushuren was completely sealed. Sharon still didn't understand at the last moment. How did Sasuke do it? Why exactly did his own Tensigen power disappear? However, Sharon was sealed and the ninjas were still in shock, but at this time Sasuke had already begun to integrate the power of Tensigen. Gold's Tensigen merges into his Sharingan. In the next second, Sasuke's whole body was wrapped in the light of gold, and the golden light exuded endless brilliance. Shine on most of the Konoha. Seeing Sasuke's sudden special situation, all the ninjas started to widen their eyes. Looking at Sasuke, everything changed so fast that they didn't even know what happened. However, in the light of gold at this moment, Sasuke's position and his eyes are undergoing amazing changes. The 9th piece of Guyu was condensed. Juguyu Sharingan. At this moment, Sasuke's pupil power increased wildly. I'm afraid no one can match Sasuke in pupil power right now. The enhancement of pupil power increases the power of pupil technique. For example, the heavenly hand power, Sasuke's current heavenly hand power, can even instantly transfer things the size of a whole house. Instantly transfer a huge attack to the place you want it to go. And there is no difficulty at all. But now for Sasuke, the power of all the pupil techniques contained in Sharingan has been crazily enhanced. Not only the power of the sky, Amaterasu, Daikokaten, and other pupil skills have been further strengthened. To be precise, it seems like a sudden rebirth. At this moment, even Sasuke felt that as long as he wanted to, he could release it instantly with just one glance. A flame that burns most of the leaves. At the same time, the control over the fire of Amaterasu has also become more amazing. After all, Sasuke also has an ability, flame control. This ability allows Sasuke to easily control the Amaterasu flame. Feeling the power emanating from the Juguyu Sharingan, Sasuke wanted to try this surge of power. And more importantly, after merging Tensigen, Sasuke is not only Sharingan's pupil power enhanced. At the same time, it also incorporates Tensigen's pupil technique, which Tensigen Chakra Mode Sasuke also mastered. The so-called Tensigen Chakra Mode is actually an application of pupil power combined with chakra. Able to create a power comparable to Shienju Chakra. Raise your power level to 6 paths level. However, Sasuke thought this mode was useless for Sasuke. But when Sasuke felt this power carefully, he found it was different. The current Sasuke has the body of a fairy, and the chakra is very powerful, and he also ignited the fire of chakra. With endless chakra, its own chakra power is also very powerful. And now with Tensigen Chakra Mode, maybe it's time for Shu Ying to change a name a bit. This should be called Sharingan Chakra Mode. A gleam flashed in Sasuke's eyes. Use pupil power to fuse chakra to form strong chakra fluctuations. This is a special power that belongs only to the owner of the pupil technique, a power that can rival Sage Mode. Sharingan Chakra Mode, Sage Mode, Tailed Beast Chakra Mode. The three forces are considered to be the same level of energy. Compared with the common chakra, the power of the three chakra is obviously stronger. Sasuke now has Sharingan Chakra Mode, Sage Mode, only Tail Chakra is missing. If you get all three kinds of chakra and turn them on at the same time, you don't know what kind of power you will get. Thinking of this, Sasuke got a little excited. Perhaps this is a very nice idea. Merge 3 kinds of chakra to generate more powerful chakra, then the level of power can be further improved. At the same time, Sasuke also cares about one point. Own Sharingan, fused with the blood of Asutsuki, is equivalent to absorbing the power of Baian. And now it has absorbed the Tensigen of Asutsuki Sharin, although now the 9th Guyu has been opened. It has entered the state of Juguyu Sharingan, but there seems to be something missing. There is a vague feeling that something is missing. If this part of power is replenished, then the Juguyu Sharingan will completely evolve into a complete new Sharingan bloodline. This is a feeling that originated from Sasuke's instinct, as if some voice reminded him to absorb the power of a pair of Rinegons and integrate them into the Sharingan as soon as possible. Speaking of Rinnegan, it seems that there are many people who can be chosen by Sasuke. First of all, Sage of Six Paths. Sage of Six Paths' younger brother Asutsuki Hamura has already come, so Sage of Six Paths is obviously not too far away. Next is Uchiha Madara. Although Madara has not yet reached the period to open Rinnegan. But if Madara wants to fuse Hashirama's cells, it doesn't seem out of the question to turn on Rinnegan this way. And then there is Kagaya. As the ancestor of Chakra, Rinnegan of Juguyu is equally powerful. If even Kagaya came to this world, he could also be one of the targets of his own plunder. But which one should Sasuke choose? For a while, Sasuke was also a little undecided. At this moment, the Konoha shinobi players around saw that Sasuke hadn't moved for a long time, so they hurried forward and asked tentatively. Master Sasuke, are you alright? Hearing this voice, Sasuke regained consciousness in a trance. Look at this Konoha shinobi in front of you. Shaking his head slowly, I'm fine. The other party didn't dare to look into Sasuke's eyes, lowered his head and said anxiously, then what should I do with this guy? As he spoke, he pointed to the Sasuke who was trapped by Sasuke's sealing technique. Sharon stared at Sasuke with his eyes wide open, and he didn't know what Sasuke was going to do with him. Want to kill yourself? Sasuke cast a glance at Tanito, let Naruto decide. Hokage-sama's injuries have been with Naruto's power, he should be able to recover soon. Saying that, Sasuke looked at the Sasuke, who still had chakra with many tailed beasts in his body. Raising his hand, he directly pulled these tailed beasts out of Sharon's body. Turning into small silver balls of light one by one, these tailed beasts directly pulled out by Sasuke were equivalent to being sealed instantly. Leave these tail beasts to Naruto. Although Sasuke also wants to incorporate these tail beasts into his 10 tails. But it's not necessary, even if you need the power of the tailed beast, you won't be able to snatch it from Naruto. After all, there are a total of 18 tailed beasts now, and he can completely catch these redundant tailed beasts. It's not too difficult to do this with Sasuke's strength. Raising his hand, he released Hamura who was also trapped. Throw it in front of these Konoha shinobi. This guy is called a Sutsuki Hamura, the younger brother of the Sage of Six Paths. Let's leave everything to Naruto, said Sasuke emphasized. A Sutsuki Hamura suddenly changed. If no one said anything to Hamura, Sasuke would not believe it to death. And I finished explaining this because Sasuke is going to find the Sage of Six Paths. Although I don't know who said what to Hamura. But if you think about it, it probably has something to do with the shell blocking. Since they were able to find Hamura in this way, they could obviously find other people as well. If the shell organization fooled too many people, especially if guys like Sage of Six Paths listened to them, then it is quite tricky for Sasuke. After all, this is Sage of Six Paths, probably the Sage of Six Paths at its peak. The Six Paths at their peak could even go head to head with Kagaya. So the more time you delay, the worse it is. Sasuke must find a way to find Sage of Six Paths as soon as possible. One is to prevent the shell organization from brainwashing Six Paths. At the same time, Sasuke also considers whether to absorb the Rinnegan power of Sage of Six Paths. To complete the last link of his Sharingan, Sasuke took a look at these Konoha ninjas. I'll leave the rest to you and Naruto. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. Without waiting for these people to respond, Sasuke disappeared in place in an instant. Looking for traces of the Sage of Six Paths, Sasuke has probably guessed it. Since Hamura appeared in Sanagakure, in other words, Sage of Six Paths may also appear in a ninja village. There are still only 3 places left: the Land of Water, the Land of Thunder, and the Land of Earth. Sage of Six Paths should be in one of the 3 ninja villages. 3 places where the Sage of Six Paths is likely to appear. So Sasuke needs to see one by one. As for people looking for Sage of Six Paths, the speed is not as good as Sasuke. So Sasuke is going to start with the Land of Earth first. And this time, in a different space. Nagato looked at Scorpio and Deidara who came back. After listening to the reports of the two, Yinmin looked at Deidara with cold eyes. Damn, boss, I didn't expect Sasuke to be so powerful. However, my transformation is not completely over yet. As long as my transformation is completely over, I will definitely be able to. Even if the transformation is over, you are still no match for Sasuke. Nagato said mercilessly. Don't think that you can compete with Sasuke just because you have become stronger. That man can't even do anything to me. The underlying line is, even if I have no choice but you still want to challenge Sasuke? It's just looking for death. However, Deidara was a little unwilling to give up and didn't listen to Nagato's words at all. All he can think about now is that he must kill Sasuke next time. And seeing Deidara's state, Nagato probably knew it too. It is unlikely that Deidara will give up easily, since she likes courting death so much, then just throw it out as bait. Nagato turned to look at the Scorpion. Scorpion didn't make a move at all this time, but brought 8 tails back. Now we have 2 tails, 8 tails, 2-tailed beasts. 9 tails was captured by Sasuke and brought back to Konoha. 7 tails was captured by Uzumaki Naruto. The rest of the tailed beasts are still being captured. 5 tails and 3 tails in Iwagakure, 6 tails in Cloud Shinobi Village, and 4 tails in Iron Land. Having said that, Nagato's eyes flickered. Among the remaining tail beasts, 5 tails, 3 tails and 4 tails, the easiest to catch is 4 tails. But the 4 tails of the Iron Kingdom seem to have sent ninjas to capture them. We must act quickly. Nagato glanced at the dried persimmon ghost dragon. It's okay to leave it to you. Nagato also looked at Itachi, who was beside him. This Itachi had just escaped from Konoha and defected. After learning about Uchiha Itachi of this era, he joined Konoha and became a ninja of Konoha. Nagato was not unguarded against Itachi. But under Amador's transformation, Itachi was implanted with something that can fully obey orders. And for the transformation of Itachi, Amador only transformed one place, that's the vitality of Itachi. Let Itachi have enough strength to unleash the power of Sharingan. That's enough for a ferret. This time is also a good time to see whether Amador's stuff works. Saying that, Itachi, who was stared at by Nagato, came out. I'll get the job done. Itachi's expression didn't change at all, it looked as if he had been reborn as another person. However, Orochimaru's eyes were shining brightly. As the only Orochimaru in the Akatsuki organization that has not been transformed, it is not because it cannot be transformed. Instead, Amador understood one thing after checking the situation of Orochimaru. Orochimaru, like himself, is a researcher of scientific ninjutsu. So instead of transforming Orochimaru, he invited Orochimaru to study with him. Although the technology mastered by Orochimaru has no effect on him at all. But as peers, Orochimaru is the pioneer, and Amador is the best among the younger generation. Amador feels differently about Orochimaru. Other people are regarded as experimental subjects in Amador's eyes. Orochimaru, however, is the one who can talk. Therefore, the transformation of Shao's organization was carried out by Amador and Dazi together. Among them, Itachi told Orochimaru one thing during the transformation of Itachi. Hopefully Orochimaru will give him a little space, a little chance. At that time, Orochimaru did not say anything, but he did. After all, Orochimaru is also curious about whether Itachi can get rid of Amador's control by relying on that tiny thing. And Amador naturally discovered what Orochimaru did. But it didn't stop it, because he also wanted to see the level of science mastered by Orochimaru, the Forerunner. Able to counter its own technology. Whether Itachi is out of control is not important, what matters is the technological contest with Orochimaru. This is what Amado valued, and this time as the leader of the Shell organization. Shion looked at Nagato. The capture of the tailed beast is imminent, but there is one place we can take advantage of. Hearing this, Nagato smiled. You should be talking about the relationship between Konoha and other ninja villages. This era. Konoha controls all tailed beasts, relying on the powerful Hokage and control over tailed beasts. Let other ninja villages feel very dissatisfied with Konoha. But there is no way, people have to bow their heads under the eaves. But the resentment in my heart cannot disappear so easily. So, take advantage indeed. Unite the 4 major ninja villages to get out of trouble. Let them cooperate with us. Nagato smiled when he heard Sishen's words. Aren't they cooperating with us the same as seeking skin from a tiger? No. In the eyes of the 4 major ninja villages, we are certainly a dangerous factor, but it is much easier than Konoha. At least we are what they can resist, and Konoha is what they cannot resist. Weighing the pros and cons, there is a high probability that they will agree. Indeed, there are no permanent enemies, nor are there permanent friends. At this stage, the Konoha family dominates, occupying the right to speak in the entire ninja world for decades. The 4 major ninja villages didn't have anything to say because of the shadow. But now the shadows from the past have appeared, and with their appearance, the resentment buried in the hearts of the ninjas of the 4 great ninja villages is about to explode. All that was missing was a person to lure this anger out. Then it's up to you to do it. Our Shao organization is not suitable for doing such a thing. What doesn't fit? It's just that Nagato doesn't want to do such boring things at all. Sishen also heard Nagato's implication, and smiled. Doing this kind of thing is nothing to him. Since Nagato doesn't want to do it, let Shell organization do it. Just handing over to the Shao organization, I'm afraid they won't be able to do it at all. And at this moment Nagato looked at the 8 tails brought back by the scorpion. 8 tails, as a tail beast second only to 9 tails, is very powerful. Having this power will make my strength catch up to a higher level. Saying that Nagato is ready to become 8 tails Jincha, Riki. And hearing this, Sishen frowned. Nagato became 8 tails Jincha, Riki? With Nagato's current situation, once he becomes 8 tails Jincha, Riki, his strength will inevitably increase by leaps and bounds. It can get a little unwieldy, but the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. It's not bad either. That's how it is. The Shao organization seizes the time to improve its strength and carry out transformation. Remodeling by Orochimaru and Amato. And the members of the Shell organization also incorporate more ninjutsu as soon as possible. And I will be in charge of uniting the 4 major ninjas to deal with Konoha. 3 heads go hand in hand. Operation Anti-Konoha has officially begun. Everything is for the purpose of destroying Konoha. Destroy leaves? No, Nagato wants more than just destroying Konoha. It's about creating a world that actually makes sense. To make the world no longer have any wars, it turns out that his original idea is valid. In this world, Uzumaki Naruto gathered all the tail beasts to deter other villages from starting any wars. In this regard, Naruto has done a good job, and Nagato also very much agrees with this behavior. But what Naruto didn't do well is that he didn't let the ninja profession disappear. All ninjutsu should be completely banned, so that ninjas will be cut off from now on. A world without ninjas would be more peaceful. And it is enough to entrust the protection of the world to one person, to him Uzumaki Nagato. One person to guard the whole world. With all the tail beasts, coupled with the power of Rinnegan, Nagato is confident that he can protect the whole world by himself. There is no need for these ninjas to help. Even if necessary, kill all the ninjas to ensure that no one will learn how to control chakra and learn ninjutsu again. Nagato's thoughts fell into extremes, and it was because he saw hope that he became more extreme. But to realize this plan, Nagato needs to do a lot. And it is very difficult. The first big mountain in front of him is how to catch all the tailed beasts. Let alone dealing with Uchiha Sasuke, it is not an easy task to find a way to snatch the tailed beast from them. Especially after playing against Uchiha Sasuke, Nagato felt even more pressured. Even after being modified again, it still seems impossible to defeat Sasuke, which makes Nagato even more annoyed. Is that person really that powerful? Sasuke, who is being missed at this moment, has just come to the land of Earth, Iwagakure. However, no trace of 6 paths was found. As for Iwagakure Sasuke, he didn't have much time to stay. He turned around and left, heading in the direction of the Land of Thunder. However, when Sasuke quickly arrived at Cloud Shinobi Village, haven't had time to look for the Sage of 6 Paths, but suddenly found that the breath of Uchiha Madara is gone. And Uchiha Madara couldn't be contacted. It was Indra before and now it is Uchiha Madara. Indra seems to have been taken away by the Shell organization, with Indra's strength. It is obviously impossible to forcibly take it away. But if they were not taken away by force, then Indra followed them voluntarily. Then why did Indra go with them, and now Madara can't get in touch with Yi, is Madara also? When Sasuke was thinking about this question, suddenly a gaze locked on Sasuke. In the next second, a figure appeared directly in front of Sasuke. The other party was floating in midair with truth-seeking balls behind him, staring directly at Sasuke with piercing eyes. You have the breath of Hamura, who are you? Hearing this, and feeling the chakra fluctuation of the other party, Sasuke slowly raised his head and looked at the Sage of 6 Paths. Found the Sage of 6 Paths in Cloud Shinobi Village. This is a good harvest. As for whether to deprive Rinnegan of Sage of 6 Paths, Sasuke is hesitant now. Both Madara and Indra were apparently taken by the Shell. As for why they are willing to leave with the Shell organization, Sasuke is not clear about this. But thinking about it, it was nothing more than being tempted by something. Maybe it's power, or maybe it's something else. Neither Indra nor Madara are so easy to be inferior to others. So it's easy for them to have their own ideas. But the question now is, if the two were bewitched. If you join the Shell tissue, the consequences will be disastrous. After all, I have seen the power of Deidara after being transformed. If Indra and Madara also accept the transformation of Shell tissue. So Sasuke can't imagine how strong the two will be after the transformation. It is very possible to reach the sky in one step, even beyond the level of Sage of 6 Paths. And in this case, the Shell organization plus everyone from the Akatsuki organization, as well as Indra and Madara, these people's combat effectiveness is too strong. Although Sasuke didn't think he would be weaker than them, but he was always alone, and the strength of one person was obviously not enough to deal with so many people at the same time. So need some help. And the Sage of 6 Paths in front of him is a very good combat power. Your brother, at the moment is called Konoha Village Son. I am not your enemy. I came here to find you too, Sage of 6 Paths. Sasuke spoke patiently. However, Sage of 6 Paths looked at Sasuke, and from Sasuke he felt the breath of his brother Asutsuki Hamura, and at the same time felt the breath of Indra. What is going on here? What did this kid do to his brother and son? Who are you? What's your name? Sage of 6 Paths already knows a little bit about this world. He was brought to the future world by some kind of power, and the future world seems to be encountering a catastrophe. So Sage of Six Paths also wants to help, but the place where he is, the man called Raikage, tells him that Konoha dominates the tailed beast. Has dominated the entire ninja world for decades. Konoha. It doesn't seem like a good place. You brought my younger brother, Asutsuki Hamura, to Konoha. Did he go voluntarily? Sage of Six Paths was a little skeptical. Logically, his younger brother, Sutsuki Hamura, would not easily be with the humans of common. After all, Hamura still attaches great importance to such things as blood, and has always been proud of his Asutsuki blood. He did not consider lower humans to be his own kind of creature. Although he sealed his mother together at the beginning, Hamura still didn't want to be like him, living in Renyuan with the people of common. So he chose to go to the moon to accompany his mother. At the same time, it can also be said that Hamura's arrogance did not allow him to be with lower humans. It's not voluntary, it's the Konoha I tied him up and brought back. When Sasuke said this, his gaze towards Sasuke changed. What did you do to my brother? Boom. The sudden burst of chakra fluctuations forms a strong shock wave. The energy that spreads and sweeps directly and suddenly sweeps away. Sasuke narrowed his eyes slightly, looking at the Sage of Six Paths in front of him. Would you believe me if I said I didn't do anything to your brother? Sage of Six Paths didn't respond to this answer at all, still staring at Sasuke. Apparently he didn't believe it. Well, if you don't believe me, forget it. It seems that it only takes one fight to force Sage of Six Paths to stop talking. Sasuke sighed helplessly. At this time, Sasuke felt that the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi were coming towards this side. If these ninjas are allowed to come over, there will be a lot of people talking and troublesome things. Thinking of this, Sasuke raised his hand and instantly condensed into 4 truth-seeking balls, and directly activated the Sharingan chakra mode with his pupil power, and chakra glowing with green light appeared. Directly follow the truth-seeking ball flying to the surroundings, and directly unfold. 4 red flame formation. The moment the 4 red flame formations rose, Sage of Six Paths frowned slightly. What's this? Feel the power from the 4 red flames. Sage of Six Paths is a bit of a surprise, it seems to be some sort of defensive move. Completely cut off the connection between the inside and the outside. Does this kid want to fight himself to the death? Is it to prevent myself from escaping? Are you worried that I will run away? Hearing this, Sasuke smiled. Sage of Six Paths felt that Sasuke seemed to be thinking too much. Would he run away? How contemptuous of himself. I never thought that as the founder of Ninja Sect, I would be worried about one day. I just want to prevent our battle from accidentally destroying the village not far away. At the same time, I don't want anyone to disturb us. Saying that, Sasuke raised his hand to indicate that Sage of Six Paths can start to shoot. Gently hooked his hand to Sage of Six Paths, and this action made Sage of Six Paths a little angry. The arrogant Sasuke made him a little angry for the first time, and his younger brother seemed to be caught by this guy. Unforgivable. The moment Sage of Six Paths' eyes became cold, he turned around and struck in Sasuke's direction. Thunder and lightning condense in an instant, and for the Asutsuki family, there is no concept of art at all. Sealed? That is not necessary at all. As long as you want to and can master it, you can use the power of the 5 escapes at will. Lightning style is also one of the strengths that Sage of Six Paths is very good at. Cover it on the fist, and the attack power that erupts is very powerful. With one punch, the momentum was like a broken bamboo, and it came straight towards Sasuke's face and ruthlessly bombarded. There was a smile in Sasuke's eyes at this moment. Attack yourself with lightning style. Then let's try, who is better between the lightning style of Sage of Six Paths and my own lightning style. Beep. Sasuke also punched instantly, the thunder and lightning surging on the fist. Black's thunder flashed and roared, constantly wreaking havoc in the direction of the Sage of Six Paths, the moment the 2 lightning bolts collided. The deafening roar instantly resounded through the sky. Even the ripples that were directly set off spread, bursting and surging, sweeping towards the surrounding enchantment. The moment it hits the barrier, ripples like water waves are produced. Sage of Six Paths didn't expect that Sasuke would also instantly burst into a lightning-style attack, and it was still such a powerful black lightning style. Black's thunder made Sage of Six Paths feel that his arm was slightly numb. How is this possible? He has a fairy body. How could he be injured by Sasuke's lightning style so easily? Shock Sasuke back with force directly, and at the same time Sage of Six Paths also uses force to jump back and avoid. After landing and standing firm, Sage of Six Paths looked at Sasuke solemnly. Is there any other force incorporated into the lightning style? This kid has an extraordinary understanding of the control of power. As the founder of Ninja, Sage of Six Paths has never seen anyone using chakra like this. Even my mother may not have such an understanding. Sasuke smiled and looked at the Sage of Six Paths with a changing expression. Raising his hand, a black lightning burst out instantly, directly turning into a flickering beam of lightning, and shot straight towards the direction of the Sage of Six Paths. Sage of Six Paths operated the truth-seeking ball behind it, and shot it towards Sasuke, forming a barrier for Black directly in front. Black lightning style blasts over Sage of Six Paths' truth-seeking ball. Directly erased. The truth-seeking ball of Sage of Six Paths is pretty powerful. It is so easy and simple to be able to block your own black lightning style. Very good. While Sasuke was thinking, suddenly another truth-seeking ball burst directly towards Sasuke. At this moment Sasuke opened his eyes. Juguyu Sharingan is activated instantly. Gods. Invisible power enveloped the truth-seeking ball, and in the next second Sasuke caught the truth-seeking ball with one hand. Then with a sudden pinch, the truth-seeking ball dissipated immediately. Sage of Six Paths originally planned to continue attacking, but was stunned for a second, and then looked at Sasuke, who had given the truth-seeking ball to the annihilation with one hand. He looked incredible, although Sasuke was very strong. But how could the truth-seeking ball be erased so easily? This kid's eyes. Seeing Sasuke's Sharingan, Sage of Six Paths froze. Sharingan. Does this kid inherit his blood? To be precise, it should be his own son, a descendant of Indra. It's amazing that among the descendants whose blood has been diluted, there is such an existence as Sasuke. Easily erase your own truth-seeking ball. If it is a descendant of Indra, then maybe we can have a good talk. Maybe this kid didn't treat Hamura very well. However, in the next second Sasuke appeared directly beside Sage of Six Paths. What are you thinking? During the battle, is there any time to distract yourself? In the next second, Sasuke's chakra exploded, directly punching Sage of Six Paths in the back. The strange power fist was launched directly, and Sage of Six Paths felt the violent chakra impact, and it exploded crazily in his body. At this moment, your Sage of Six Paths' eyes suddenly shrank. Rinnegan started, turned around and bombarded Sasuke with one after another truth-seeking balls like cannonballs. In the next second, Sasuke raised his hand and waved in the air, drawing a curve, directly erasing the bursting truth-seeking balls one by one. The power of the God Spirit has now been further strengthened. Erasing these truth-seeking balls is just a matter of Sasuke's thought. In the next second, Purple's light burst out, and under the horrified eyes of Sage of Six Paths, Sasuke's Kusanagi sword was directly placed at the throat of Sage of Six Paths. Sage of Six Paths swallowed lightly. Look at the knife in front of you. If the knife had advanced a little further, I'm afraid his throat would have been instantly sealed. Think here. Sage of Six Paths also had to lament that Sasuke's strength was a bit terrifying. Do you understand now? If I want to do something to your brother, do you think he can live in my hands? Hearing this, Sage of Six Paths smiled helplessly. Indeed, with Sasuke's power, if he really wants to be unfavorable to his younger brother Asutsuki Hamura, then the opponent can easily kill his younger brother. It's just that the problem now is that Sage of Six Paths is unexpectedly among his descendants. There is actually someone like Sasuke, who has mastered such a powerful king of power. Even himself is not an opponent at all. This kid doesn't have any tail beast chakra fluctuations in its body, it seems to be relying only on its own strength. It's amazing to be able to be so powerful. What did you bring Hamura to that place called Konoha? The chaos seems to be caused by me. If it wasn't for the chaos, you people wouldn't have come to this era inexplicably. So I want to send all the people who don't belong to this era back to your original era. Hearing this explanation, Sage of Six Paths probably understood what was going on. So the purpose of the other party coming to him is just to send him back to his own era? That's nothing, it's a normal thought. You caused the confusion? Sage of Six Paths looks at Sasuke, asking him for specific details about the alleged confusion. And it seemed that there was no need to continue fighting at this time. Sasuke casually withdrew the 4 red flame formations around him. At the same time Sasuke is also explaining the cause and effect to Sage of Six Paths. Regarding Pu Shi's battle, at the same time, because of Pu Shi's ability, it may have caused some strange changes. As a result, there was confusion, but Sasuke didn't know exactly why this happened. Perhaps when the plow is repaired, the reason will be understood. But now, the chaos is still going on, and ninjas from all ages have appeared one after another. Even ninjas like Sage of Six Paths have appeared, presumably other ninjas have the same chance to appear. You alone are not enough to capture all the ninjas who came to this world due to chaos. Maybe some of these ninjas know that shouldn't mess around, but a large part of them should want to see the future world, and the changes in the future world are likely to make them do some irrational things. Sage of Six Paths said. He looked at Sasuke, so you need a special team to help you catch these ninjas who came due to chaos as soon as possible. Sage of Six Paths is a good idea, although Sasuke is very strong. He is a person after all, and it is obviously impossible for one person to catch all these ninjas. After all, no matter how strong a person is, he can't clone himself and go to various parts of the ninja world to capture all these ninjas. At this stage, Sasuke's priority is to solve these top-level combat powers, which can be used when Sage of Six Paths and others enter the new era of ninja world. There are many other ninjas entering this time. There are so many people in Genin, Cha, Nin, and Ya Nin that they are almost impossible to count. And such a huge number of ninjas from other eras all gathered in this era. The impact produced has been quite huge, it's just that it hasn't fully exploded yet. Because they may have just arrived in the new era, and they haven't figured out what exactly happened. Once they know that they have come to the future world, it is unknown what they will do then. Some originally brilliant families may have already declined in the new era. And when these once glorious ninjas came here, they saw the family become like this. Even if he is not a bad ninja, he doesn't know what he will do at this time. So anything is possible. Well, it is indeed a trouble. Sasuke is also very helpless, but the problem is that now we not only need to solve the problem of these top combat power, but also catch the tail beast as soon as possible. If the tailed beast is obtained by ninjas with bad intentions, it will not only cause big trouble, but also the Shell organization and the already fully arrived Akatsuki organization will watch over it. There are still many problems, so now I don't have the energy to deal with those ninjas. Sage of Six Paths also probably understands that Sasuke should also have no skills at all. Take me to see my younger brother, Hamura first. Afterwards, I can help you, and together we can return the world to its original peaceful state. Sage of Six Paths seemed willing to help, which made Sasuke a little amused. This guy really regards maintaining world peace as his responsibility. That's okay too. Someone is willing to help. Sasuke is happy before it's too late. At this time, footsteps came from around. This is the ninjas from Cloud Shinobi Village arriving. When I came here and saw Sasuke and Sage of Six Paths standing side by side, the leader Third Raikage froze for a moment. Then he asked, Lord Sage of Six Paths, what happened? However, Sage of Six Paths glanced at Raikage lightly. I want to go to Konoha with this kid. Hearing this, Third Raikage suddenly felt a thunderbolt from the blue sky, and it took him countless efforts to persuade the Sage of Six Paths in front of him to stay in Cloud Shinobi Village. Relying on the power of Sage of Six Paths, Cloud Shinobi Village will definitely become stronger. But now, Konoha came and took the Sage of Six Paths away? What is this? Is Cloud Shinobi Village so ignored by Sage of Six Paths? Let's go. I'm in a hurry, Sasuke urged. At this time, Raikage raised his head and looked at Six Paths, who was about to leave. Master Sage of Six Paths, you can leave, but the tailed beasts of Cloud Shinobi Village are welcome. I want to take it away together. This head-tailed beast doesn't belong to Cloud Shinobi Village. It comes from another era. We should send it back to the era it originally belonged to. After speaking, Sage of Six Paths didn't notice the change in Third Raikage's expression. Even Sasuke didn't pay much attention. For people at the level of 100 million, basically there is no need to worry at all, even if the other party is unhappy, so what? With Sasuke and Sage of Six Paths gone, Third Raikage froze on the spot, clenched his hands tightly. Looking angrily at the empty ground in front of him. Six Paths left, and also took away the tail beast belonging to Cloud Shinobi Village, and it was Konoha's people who took Guangdao away. Konoha. 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 Should everything be Konoha? Cloud Shinobi Village is nothing. The world should revolve around Konoha, so what about the other 4 major ninja villages? Everything belongs to Konoha. In the past Ninja World War, Six Paths gave all the tail beasts to Konoha's Hokage, Uzumaki Naruto. And now the extra-tailed beasts are not left to other villages, so why bring them back to Konoha? Over the years, Konoha has squeezed other villages, absorbed the blood of other villages, and enriched his own village. I have already got enough, so why not leave any of it to other villages? Why? Looking at your appearance, you should be very unconvinced. Suddenly a strange voice sounded. Meanwhile, other ninja villages. Kirigakure. Terumi Mei looked at Mizukage through the ages. When did Kirigakure fall to this point? Konoha took over everything, and what was left to Mist Shinobi was just leftovers. Just like this, you are still so satisfied. Kirigakure, used to be an existence that was not weaker than Chikiha. While Mizukage was speaking, a strange voice sounded. The Konoha family dominates. What can I do? It's just a Mist Shinobi who wants to resist Konoha. It's like hitting a stone with an egg. Sanagakure. The village, no matter how hard it is, no one bows to anyone. This is me, San Shinobi. However, the current village, look at what it has become. Gaara looked at her father in the third Kazekage, who was once called the strongest. Peace always has a price. Third Kazekage. Then why isn't Konoha paying the price? An unfamiliar voice. I agree with this statement. Konoha is the center of the ninja world, and has always held the right to speak in the ninja world. If you have to pay the price, Konoha should pay the most. Iwagakure. Second Tsuchikage Wu looked at fourth Tsuchikage Black Soil. In the land of the past, although Iwagakure was not rich, it had a large population and everyone lived and worked in peace and contentment. How about now? For the sake of the so-called peace, the land of Earth and Iwagakure have not made the slightest progress but have regressed a lot. Stranger. Want to try a change? 2 Tsuchikage? Third Raikage looked at the person in front of him. The other party was wearing White's cloak, covering his entire body tightly, not even showing his face. It just showed an outline. This outfit, even without thinking about it. This guy is definitely not a good person, and it is obvious that he has an ulterior purpose in coming to him at this time. What do you want to say? Hearing Third Raikage's question, the other party smiled, then slowly raised his head and took off his hat. Staring at the Third Raikage in front of him. Konoha. It's your enemy, and it's also our enemy. An enemy's enemy should be able to become a friend, so I came here to see if Cloud Shinobi Village intends to cooperate and deal with Konoha together. Let's deal with Konoha together. Those words didn't make any sense to Third Raikage. But Konoha really has to deal with it, otherwise Cloud Shinobi will never have a bright future. Cloud Shinobi Village can't go on like this forever. If it continues like this, I am afraid that in a few decades, the entire ninja world will really be dominated by Konoha. Of the so-called 5 major ninja villages, Konoha should be the last to exist, and the other villages will perish one after another. This is a situation that Third Raikage does not want to see under any circumstances. After thinking about it for a while, although Third Raikage knew very well that what cooperation with such a guy was, the result was nothing but treason. Even if Konoha is resolved in the end, I'm afraid Cloud Shinobi will be tricked by the opponent. But the current Third Raikage has only one idea, and that is to solve Muto no matter what. Even Cloud Shinobi won't benefit from it, and it won't make the village grow and grow again. But at least hope remains. And if nothing is done, then in the end even the so-called hope is gone. So instead of sitting still and waiting to die, it is better to at least work hard. How do you want to cooperate? If it's cooperation, at least tell me who you want. Third Raikage seemed very decisive, and directly expressed his agreement without much hesitation. And the person who is responsible for coming here to talk is not someone else. It is the heart of the shell tissue. He slowly took off his hood, then looked at the Third Raikage in front of him. I am the enemy of Shell Organization, an organization dedicated to the research of scientific ninja tools. The scientific ninja tools provided by our organization can help Cloud Shinobi Village quickly gain stronger combat experience. It can also give Cloud Shinobi Village the power to challenge Konoha. Saying that, Layman Guoxin pointed to Third Raikage. Even Mr. Third Raikage, as long as you accept our transformation, your strength will increase dramatically. At least you can't be afraid of Konoha's 6th Hokage, Uzumaki Naruto. Science, ninjas? Although Third Raikage has also understood this thing, but in the eyes of Third Raikage, this kind of thing is simply an insult to ninjutsu and ninjas. Relying on this kind of thing can also change the area? Layman Guoxin also knew what kind of person the former Third Raikage was before he came here. A true fighter Raikage. The strength is amazing. There are 2 titles, the strongest spear and the strongest shield. To deal with such a person, it is useless to just talk about it. The important thing is to let the other party feel the power of the scientific ninja tool. Speaking of Layman Guoxin, he planned to show off the scientific ninja that Amador asked him to bring. Also let this Lord Third Raikage in Legendary feel the power from the new era. At the same time, in Kirigakure, second Mizukage, third Mizukage, and fourth Mizukage stared at the mysterious person who suddenly appeared. Terumi Mei was also very surprised that someone could come to the room where they talked with Mizukage so quietly. Have all the fog ninjas outside been killed? Everyone, Mizukage-sama, don't be nervous. I mean no harm. I believe you should have understood the situation by now. In this era, the Konoha family dominates, and other ninja villages can only survive in the shadow of Konoha. Even the village is constantly being squeezed by the leaves, and the leaves absorb nutrients from the major ninja villages to strengthen themselves. The so-called peace is nothing but a false appearance. Victor, the member of the shell organization responsible for coming to Kirigakure, smiled. The ninja world today seems to be very peaceful, but in fact, people from all over the world are supporting Konoha, and supporting the people of the country of destruction. The people of Konoha, the people of the country of fire, because they oppress the whole world, their lives are very good. Victor looks at several Mizukages. Without war, although few people died due to fighting, under the pressure of Konoha, countless poor people in the land of water starved to death. This is so-called peace, and war has just evolved into another form. What exactly are you trying to say? Second Mizukage Ghost Lantern Wanyue is not a patient person, he directly asks what the other party wants to say. Victor looked at him, cooperate. Let's deal with the common enemy, Konoha. This sentence was also spoken in Sanagakure at the same time. A member of the shell organization, Deluda looked at 3rd Kazekage and 4th Kazekage. I believe you have seen it. The myth after our shell organization transformation has been pulled. The reason why his power has become so strong is because he has accepted the power of scientific ninja gear. If Sanagakure also wants to gain such power and fight against Konoha, we can join hands. It's time for the ninja world to change, and it's time to break the dominance of the Yuya family. Hearing Daruda's words, 3rd generation and 4th generation were indeed a little moved. Not only they are 2nd Tsuchikage, nothing. Facing the members of the shell organization that appeared in front of him at this moment, Wu was equally moved. It wasn't because of the conditions that the other party offered, but because of defeating Konoha. The matter of defeating Konoha moved Wu very much. Konoha has dominated the ninja world for too long. Even if he knows. All the shadows who are being questioned at this moment are very clear that cooperating with such an organization is undoubtedly leading the wolf into the house. After all, the ninjas who can become Shankage are not only powerful, but also smart enough. Of course they knew that the other party must have their own little abacus. But, compared with the status quo, even if the other party has their own small abacus, it is not impossible to consider it. Konoha. Let Konoha go into the water, even if you pay a painful price for it, at least there is still hope. However, if you don't do anything to Konoha, you will die slowly. None. Okay. I agree. 3rd Kazekage. Tell me specifically, how to cooperate. 3rd Raikage. How much stronger can you guys make the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village? 2nd Mizukage. Hope you guys really have the ability to let us crush Konoha. Hearing the answers from these shadows, at the same time, members of the shell organization all over the place smiled. You will not be disappointed, because from the moment you agree, it means that Konoha village has become a public enemy of the ninja world. Other ninja villages have agreed to cooperate a long time ago. Konoha. I will never be too willing to be destroyed. 3rd Raikage. Have all the shadows from other villages agreed? Hearing the other party's words, Raikage was a little stunned. After all, apart from him, Ying from other villages also made the same choice. It seems that under Konoha's oppression, every village is quite dissatisfied. Perhaps the contemporary shadows, because of the 4th Ninja World War, have seen the hope of peace, and they have more or less friendship with Naruto. I feel that Naruto is a trustworthy person, but for fellow filmmakers from the past, they understand human nature better. Peace. That is something that cannot be achieved with more than 2 people. Humanity. As long as there are 2 human beings, the so-called peace cannot be realized. Because the price of peace often requires more sacrifices. And it is precisely because no one wants to sacrifice their own interests, so ninja world wars broke out again and again in the ninja world in the past. If everyone was willing to sacrifice themselves, the so-called peace would have been realized long ago. The peace pursued by today's contemporary filmmakers, in the eyes of past filmmakers, is nothing but a ridiculous and stupid dream. Instead of thinking about how to make the world peaceful, it is better to think about how to make your own village and your country better. No one dares to provoke, and peace is always valid within the reach of the sword. If other villages also decide to deal with Konoha, then, old man, I feel that maybe there is a real hope to defeat Konoha. Saying that, 3rd Raikage looked at the shell organization member in front of him. There is also a smile on the face of the other party, and they also think so. Things went much smoother than expected. It seems that Konoha did not leave a very good impression on the shadows from the past. In the final analysis, Konoha has caused the oppression of the 4 major ninja villages in the past few decades. And this is like boiling a frog in warm water. At the beginning, I didn't feel it, but when it really started, I realized it later. Unknowingly, Sleepy Yi squeezed too many benefits from other villages. And that is the price of peace, inevitable. The old man has an idea now, maybe you can tell the shadows in other villages and see if they agree. Saying that, Third Raikage looked in the direction of Konoha. The tailed beast that belongs to our village, I think it's time to ask for it. Thisaae hearing this, Layman Guoxin was slightly taken aback. But he reacted quickly. I see. This guy wants to officially break up with Konoha. In this way, Konoha's oppression of Cloud Shinobi Village. No, to be precise, all the oppression of the other 4 major ninja villages will temporarily end. And it can also gain the moral upper hand. The tailed beast originally belonged to other ninja villages, but now it is occupied by Konoha, which is unreasonable no matter what. Even if there is a real war with Konoha, first of all, the ninjas in the 4 major ninja villages will support their own villages. After all, it is not wrong to take back what belongs to you. Secondly, the interior of Konoha may also be divided into 2 factions because of this. In order to maintain the current stage, one side will oppress other villages and other countries and choose to compromise. They may support the return of tailed beasts from other villages. The other faction is obviously opposed, and they probably won't support returning the tailed beast. So, on the contrary, a certain degree of contradictions will erupt within Konoha. As for the size of the contradictions, it depends on the specific situation. Ask for the tailed beast. No matter whether Konoha agrees to give it or not, other villages must go to ask for it. If it is to take an oath of sovereignty, if not, it is tantamount to imperceptibly agreeing that Konoha legally holds the status of a tailed beast. So of course I'm going to ask for the tailed beast. Layman Guoxin looked at the Third Raikage in front of him, the rumored strongest spear and strongest shield. He should be a full-fledged fighter, but he didn't expect to have such a mind. I will pass on your thoughts to other villages. Third Raikage nodded. You said before, provide me with the help of scientific ninja equipment. That's right. Layman Guoxin smiled. If Master Third Raikage is sure that it is necessary, we will soon send specialized scientists to Cloud Shinobi Village to help Master Third Generation to carry out transformation. Third Raikage nodded, then looked at the other Cloud Shinobi ninjas. If the effect is good, how about an army of ninjas coming out? Unexpectedly, Third Raikage was so courageous and wanted to create an army of scientific ninjas. But this is better, strengthening the strength of the 4 major ninja villages, and using it to fight against Konoha as a dream for the Shell organization. Perhaps other villages should also create an army of scientific ninjas to fight against Konoha. The current strength of the major ninja villages is far from enough. I will tell Ying from other villages, let them think about it. Layman Guoxin did not expect the operation to be so smooth. Third Raikage is willing to accept the transformation, and once he accepts Amador's transformation, not to mention controlling Third Raikage, it is still very easy to influence Raikage to a certain extent. At the same time, copying the body data of Third Raikage and cloning a clone like Third Raikage is not a difficult thing for Amador. Especially with the cooperation of the person himself, it is even possible to copy the ninjutsu of Third Raikage. At that time, the strength of the shell tissue will increase dramatically. If the shadows in other villages are willing to accept it, then the strength of the Wei organization will explode. At the same time, the confidence in dealing with Konoha, and the confidence in dealing with that man is even greater. Uchiha Sasuke. This is the existence that the adult has always mentioned and wanted to deal with. As early as the 4th Ninja World War, the opponent almost killed a Sutsuki in one style. The current Uchiha Sasuke seems to have been vacant for decades. But still a very difficult person. But if Sasuke hadn't been vacant for decades, I'm afraid it would be a dream to deal with Sasuke now. In terms of the speed at which Sasuke becomes stronger, in a few decades, this guy may truly grow into a god. Sasuke at the moment has returned to Konoha with the Sage of 6 Paths. Naruto has also recovered. After all, with the power of a tailed beast, Naruto's recovery speed is still very fast. At the same time, Naruto also has the wood-style blood inheritance boundary. With the blessing of wood-style cells, there is actually no big problem at all even in the state of being seriously injured and dying. As long as it's not a one-hit kill, a little rest with Naruto's vitality will do. Hamura. Sage of 6 Paths also met his younger brother, Insutsuki Hamura as he wished. Seeing the sealed Asutsuki Hamura, Sage of 6 Paths smiled helplessly. He glanced back at Sasuke. Sasuke untied Hamura's seal directly. Although he was full of fire, he saw his big brother. Hamura didn't explode immediately either. Instead, asked about the Sage of 6 Paths. Big brother pure. The 2 brothers who haven't seen each other for a long time now have a lot to say. Sasuke didn't continue to manage the two, but went to see Naruto and told Naruto about Indra and Madara. Unexpectedly, these two guys were still out of control. Sasuke, I didn't expect that even an existence like Sage of Six Paths would be affected by chaos and come to this world. Naruto was just recovering and hadn't recovered from the series of changes. I still dare not think about it now. The former Sage of Six Paths will come to the new era due to confusion. Sasuke's expression at this moment is also very dignified. Naruto felt something was wrong. Even the existence of the level of Sage of Six Paths came to this era because of chaos. For Sasuke, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. After all, the previous Sasuke was a tough person like Kagaya. How could it be possible to be afraid of the existence of Sage of Six Paths? Looking at Sasuke's appearance, Naruto instinctively felt something was wrong. Sasuke. What's wrong with you? Sasuke looked back at Naruto and sighed softly. Naruto, Indra and Madara, something may have happened. Situation? Naruto froze for a moment. Weren't these two people fine before? After realizing that this was a change caused by chaos, the two of them cooperated quite well. Why did it suddenly happen now? Are the two of them wanting to do something? It's hard to say for Indo Luo Ming, but Madara is definitely not a guy who is so easy to keep his own place. Referring to the previous Fourth Ninja World War, if Madara really wants to do something, it will be a headache. It's not that they are afraid of Madara, but with Madara's ability, the things they do usually cause headaches. If these two guys just want to do something, don't worry. Sasuke felt it necessary to tell Naruto about the shell tissue of this era now. What I'm worried about is that the shell organization recruited the two of them. Shell tissue? Naruto froze for a moment. It was the first time he had heard of this name, but without him asking, Sasuke had already released Shikai. In this era, there is also an existence similar to the Akatsuki organization, and the name is called the Shell organization. And this organization is similar to the Shao organization, both have their own ambitions. The purpose of the Shell organization is to replant the sacred tree, and use the power of the divine tree to make all members of the organization transcend and become existences comparable to gods. An existence comparable to a god. Is this the purpose of shell tissue? In other words, the purpose of the Shao organization is much higher than that of the Shell organization. At least the Shao organization is to make the world peaceful, and the Shell organization just wants to pursue its own selfish desires. Comparing the two with each other, there is no comparison at all. No matter who is noble, the existence of such an organization will cause headaches. Naruto is very puzzled why such an organization exists in this era. How does this organization compare to the previous Akatsuki organization? If Naruto remembers correctly, the people from the Akatsuki organization should have come to this era due to chaos. Originally, I thought it was only necessary to guard against the Shao organization, but now I need to add a shell organization. This made Naruto feel more and more uneasy. Glancing at Naruto, Sasuke continued. The difference between the Shell organization and the Akatsuki organization lies in the development of scientific ninja equipment in this era, and the Shell organization has mastered almost the most cutting-edge scientific ninja technology. The members of the organization have all undergone transformation. They all have powerful scientific ninja tools, and Japanese ninjas really have nothing to do with them. Speaking of this, Sasuke's eyes changed slightly, and I have met the members of the Akatsuki organization who came to this era because of the chaos in Sanagakure this time. Naruto looked up suddenly. Deidara, he has been transformed by a scientific ninja. The combat power has been enhanced. Hearing Sasuke's words, Naruto was stunned for a moment. You mean, the people from the Wei organization have already joined the people from the Akatsuki organization? That's right. Sasuke nodded. What is even more worrying is that if all members of the Akatsuki organization are transformed into scientific ninja gear, then the combat effectiveness will be greatly improved. At the same time, both Indra and Madara were taken away by the Shell organization. The two of them are likely to accept the transformation of scientific ninja equipment, judging from the previous situation of Deidara. If the two of them really accept the transformation, then their strength may become very fishy. It is even impossible to imagine how strong it is. Even if it is unpredictable, scientific stuff, Sasuke is not too much. But it doesn't matter to Sasuke even if it is a scientific ninja tool, the god spirit can even strip the subject of the object's ability. It doesn't matter if it's a scientific ninja. Sasuke, are you worried that after Indra and Madara received shell tissue transformation and their strength increased, what else would they do? Sasuke nodded. If the two of them really have stronger power, then it's even more impossible for them to keep their own place. According to Sasuke's conjecture, the first thing after the two really changed. For Indra, I'm afraid it will be another battle with Ashura, and then defeat Ashura, and then maybe choose to pursue a more powerful force, and do some terrible things. As for Madara, there is no need to guess, since this guy has already removed the shell tissue, he must know what God is right about. Madara will definitely target the sacred tree. To control this power, only by controlling this power can Madara be able to do what she wants to do. Shell Organization, Akatsuki Organization, Indra, Madara, now that I think about their lineup, it's already quite impressive. It's hard to predict how far their fighting power will grow when they are all blessed with scientific ninja tools. In the already chaotic state, these uncertain factors are even more troublesome. Even Sasuke couldn't help complaining that things are getting more and more complicated now. Sasuke, don't worry too much, now that Sage of Six Paths and his brother, Asutsuki Hamura have come to Konoha, they won't be like Indra and Madara. We still have 2 more helpers, and it's a great helper. Speaking of this, Sasuke was even more helpless. Here's the problem. You think even Sage of Six Paths came into this world because of chaos? Then will more people come to this era? Hearing Sasuke's question, Naruto was stunned for a few seconds, then suddenly his eyes narrowed slightly. Sasuke, you mean? Asutsuki Kagaya maybe also. Ah. And possibly the unsealed Kagaya, and even more Asutsuki came to this age due to chaos. More Asutsuki. If this is the case, then things can get out of hand. Many Asutsuki gathered together, under such circumstances, the ninja world. Is there really any hope? Asutsuki Bush style, Asutsuki Peach style, Asutsuki Gold style, Asutsuki One style, Asutsuki Kagaya, and maybe even others. Asutsuki. Else Asutsuki. Naruto was stunned for a moment, because there are many people in Sutsuki. Sasuke, a member of the Asutsuki clan, are there many more? Sasuke didn't know how to answer Naruto's question. Logically speaking, the Asutsuki clan should have many clansmen, but there may not be too many connections with each other. After all, planting a sacred tree can easily take hundreds or thousands of years. At the same time, travel through the entire universe, looking for planets with life, to be able to plant the sacred tree. A galaxy may not find a living planet, not to mention how big a galaxy is, there are galaxy groups above the galaxy. The universe can be said to be boundless. Even if there are many people in the Asutsuki family, it may be very difficult for them to communicate with each other. So there may be a lot of Asutsuki clans, but in fact, there is no need to worry about it for the time being. Even though there are many Asutsuki clans, there is no need to worry about the Asutsuki clan in other places, at least for the time being. Sasuke thought and could only answer Naruto with an uncertain tone. Perhaps, there aren't too many people from the Asutsuki clan. Hearing this answer, Naruto always felt a little strange. Sasuke in the past was quite confident. No matter for anything, it seems to be very sure. However, this time, it was the first time that Sasuke gave people the impression that even he himself was a little uncertain. It can even be said that there is no self-confidence at all. This chaos, it seems more terrifying than imagined. I am afraid that no one in the entire ninja world can escape the influence of chaos. Sasuke, we will end the chaos no matter what. Let everything return to the calm before. Sasuke nodded, the chaos must end. No matter what the purpose is, you can't just let it go. Chaotic times, the chaos of the times is caused by the host, please end the chaos and make everything return to normal. Reward. Chakra sublimation. The sound of the system appeared again. Sasuke hadn't heard the sound of the system for a long time. Unexpectedly, it appeared again now. And this voice also means that there are enemies that are so powerful that Sasuke can't defeat if he doesn't think about it. Because before, no matter whether it was Sage of Six Paths or Asutsuki Momo, these people were not enough for the system to give tasks. Sasuke's strength is not too difficult to deal with them. So no task was given, and Sasuke didn't think there was anything. But now, the system gives tasks, which means new dangers. There are already people who can threaten themselves. Because of the chaos, did some terrible strongman appear? Impossible. All the well-known strong men in the ninja world have already fought against him. I haven't seen anyone with the power to threaten me. What is this? Could it be that some horrible Asutsuki appeared in the ninja world? And it's Asutsuki that I don't know. Then it means that the Asutsuki who appeared should not be the person who existed in the original work. Now, on the top of a mountain somewhere in Iwagakure, 2 figures appeared here, and the clothes they were wearing were indeed Asutsuki's clothes. But compared with Jinshi, Taoshi and others, their costumes are more ancient. I don't know what period Asutsuki was, but it is obviously related to the ninja world. And one of them, Asutsuki, is not a person who does not exist in the original book. On the contrary, he did appear in the original novel. But one who has achieved the purpose of a Sutsuki. The common purpose of all members of the Sutsuki clan is to become a god-like existence. And this person is the existence that was closest to God. In the process of devouring the fruit of chakra for thousands of years, he has become a god in the true sense. In the end, he died for a certain reason, leaving behind his own body. However, according to Amador, who discovered the body, this Sutsuki may have been out of this world. Leaving this dimension, entering another dimension. He was not killed by people, as the existence closest to God, he actually no longer relies on the flesh so much. So, he abandoned his body, entered another dimension, and started a new path of chasing God. The name of this Sutsuki is called Sutsuki Shibahu. The Sutsuki in front of me who came to this era because of chaos is Sutsuki Shibai. This feeling, it seems that the inexplicable power of time has affected us? It's really interesting that everyone can use the power of time to influence us? The calm faces of the two Sutsuki were now showing excitement. At their level, they shouldn't be affected by time. But now it is affected. This also means that there has been an existence who can stand shoulder to shoulder with them. And the opportunity to become a true god may lie in this. Shibai, you don't look like the Shibai I know. Hearing that, Shibahu bowed his head and said respectfully to the Sutsuki in front of him. Ancient master. Thousands of years after you left, I also followed in your footsteps, and finally grew to be close to the existence of God. Sutsuki ancient style. Perhaps Amador didn't expect that the existence he discovered was determined to be the closest to God, Sutsuki Shibai, and he was just another Sutsuki's guardian. As the guardian of Sutsuki, it is the existence that truly transcends everything and becomes a god. He left this dimension directly with his physical body. And now come back again, although the power is affected, it is affected by this dimension. But Jiyu Shi is a god who transcends Shibahu and can directly leave this dimension with his physical body. His power is even more terrifying. Good. Looks like you didn't waste what I left you. Shibai nodded gratefully. If it wasn't for the chakra fruit left by Mr. Gushi, I wouldn't have grown to this level so quickly, but compared to Mr. Gushi, I'm not even close. Jiyu Shi can leave this dimension directly with his physical body, but Shiju can only give up his physical body in a broken way. Comparing the two makes a judgment. Just a slight difference is enough to explain the gap in strength between the two. An ancient posterity. It's Bushi. Pushi, who inherited part of the power of the ancient style, can plant a sacred tree by himself, and can even directly manipulate time to a certain extent. Such amazing talent and ability should have grown into an extremely powerful Sutsuki, but it's a pity that Sutsuki was too stupid. So much so that the power left by the ancient style was wasted. Master Jiyu Shi, this world seems to have undergone amazing changes due to the influence of chaotic time. It's hard not to know the person who brought us into this world. I'm going to find this guy now. Hearing this, Jiyu Shi waved his hand. No. Take a look first, this world seems very interesting. Since Mr. Jiyu Shi is not in a hurry, you can take a look first before talking. Thinking that there may be many Sutsuki people coming to this era. Naruto felt very uneasy. When I got home, my wife Hinata's state also seemed very strange. And Boruto looked at his father in a daze again. It was hard to imagine those older ninjas in the village. Everyone said that only his father could compete with Uchiha Sasuke at the same time. No matter how you look at it, your father doesn't seem very powerful. Boruto. What are you doing looking at me? Naruto suddenly became curious. In the past, his son always looked very impatient when he saw him. Why do you seem to be particularly concerned about yourself today? It should not be said to be curiosity. No. Boruto hastily turned his head away and stopped looking at Naruto. But after a few seconds, Boruto asked again, Father, are you really the only ninja who can compete with Master Uchiha Sasuke? Heard that Hinata, who was cooking, was stunned for a moment. His son seemed to be particularly interested in Sasuke recently. However, it is also understandable that Sasuke's style is indeed in line with the expectations of the children. But Hinata doesn't want Boruto to target Sasuke. Hearing this, Naruto reached out his hand and motioned for Boruto to sit over. He hugged his son gently. Naruto smiled and said, well, but technically, I never beat Sasuke once. Not once? Boruto was stunned for a moment, but Master Sasuke is so strong, it's normal that his father has never won. Sasuke has been called a genius since he was a child. In fact, Sasuke is indeed a genius among geniuses. No one is more talented than Sasuke. Looking at Boruto in his arms. You seem to be very interested in Sasuke. Do you want to be as strong as Sasuke? Hearing this, Boruto nodded as a matter of course. Of course, Master Sasuke is so strong, if only I have that kind of strength. It's not so easy to have Sasuke's strength. Naruto recalls the time when he was on a mission with Sasuke. It's a matter of course for a person who even walks and sleeps for cultivation to become so powerful. Walking and sleeping are all used for cultivation? What are you kidding? Does this guy need to rest? Boruto is a little speechless, he is simply a cultivator. No wonder he is so strong. It seems that it is basically impossible for him to catch up with Sasuke after just practicing for a while. However, Sasuke's road is very lonely. Boruto, you can become a strong man like Sasuke, but you still have many friends by your side. Don't take care of yourself while doing things. Boruto got a little impatient, and Naruto's preaching started again. He nodded perfunctorily, I know. After speaking, he jumped away. Just when Naruto was about to hold Boruto to say something, a knock on the door suddenly came to mind. Generally, this situation should be Anbu's ninja. After all, everyone knows that Naruto is very busy, and usually will not disturb Naruto's rare rest time. But as Hokage, there are definitely things that can't be dealt with. Hinata opened the door, and Anbu's ninja stood outside the door as expected. Master Hinata, please don't bother you at this time. But now there are very important things that need to be handled by Mr. Hokage himself. Naruto had already put on his coat and grabbed his cloak directly. Patted Hinata on the shoulder, you take care of the children to eat. I will come back later. Hinata, Naruto, be careful yourself. Naruto nodded, don't worry. This is still Konoha. Come to the Hokage office, Shikamaru and others are already waiting here. Even Sasuke is there. There is also Sage of Six Paths and his brother Asutsuki Hamura listening in on the sidelines. As soon as Naruto entered the door, he was a little confused. What's wrong? It doesn't look like there is any battle happening. Is there something big going on? Shikamaru handed the 4 letters in his hand to Naruto. Naruto glanced at the words on the letter, which were wind, water, thunder, and earth, which meant that these letters were sent by everyone. What kind of matter requires everyone to write a letter in person? It seems that the matter is indeed not small. When Naruto opened the letters and checked them one by one, Naruto put down the letter, raised his head and let out a long breath. Shikamaru and others hurriedly asked, Naruto, what is it? These are all letters sent by the shadows, so naturally they will not open them for inspection. Naruto smiled helplessly. Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, Sand Shinobi, all asked me to return the tailed beast belonging to their village. Konoha has occupied the tailed beast for so many years, they haven't said anything, but now there is a crisis in their respective villages. They need the power of the tailed beast. The voices of all the shadows were lukewarm, and there was even a feeling that they were moving with emotion and reasoning. This made Naruto even more irresistible. Yes. Konoha has occupied the tailed beast for so many years, and the villages have not said anything. Now their village is in crisis. They need the power of the tailed beast to overcome difficulties. This is a normal request, how could Konoha refuse? However, Shikamaru said directly, you can't return the tailed beast. The power of the tailed beast is very strong, but it is also because the power of the tailed beast is too strong. So it led to frequent wars. If the 4 hidden villages were allowed to control the tailed beast again, then these villages would probably have a different attitude. The chaotic world that finally came to an end has returned to its original state. In this way, the peace maintained over the years has not become a bubble. If you don't go back, how to solve the problems in other villages, when the chaos comes, they really need the power of the tailed beast. But those tailed beasts don't belong to this era. If they are returned, how can they be returned to the era that belongs to them? Arguments started. Sage of Six Paths frowned, thinking about a question now. Was it really right for him to oppose the rule of his mother and let human beings decide for themselves? How does it feel as if no problem has been solved at all? Human beings make their own decisions, but it will also cause many contradictions. Different opinions, different views on peace. Is such a world really a perfect world? Sasuke looked at Naruto. According to Sasuke's conjecture, Naruto's decision should be, then return the tailed beast to them. Suddenly Naruto spoke, and hearing Naruto's words, the other ninjas in the office were stunned. Is this decided? Master Hokage can come like this? Those tailed beasts don't belong to other villages. Yes, give it back to them, don't let the chaos continue. Naruto looked up at the ninjas who said this. I'm not talking about the tailed beasts that were brought back to them, but the tailed beasts that belonged to them. Sasuke smiled, sure enough. He guessed that since there was no way to have the best of both worlds, Naruto would choose to sacrifice himself. This is Uzumaki Naruto. Returning these unconscious tail beasts to the hidden villages will make the hidden villages stronger. Naruto, your thoughts can still be as innocent as before. Master Hokage, are you serious? At this time, return the tail beast to other ninja villages. Now is the time of turmoil. Returning the tailed beast to them at this time does not mean that your power is. Naruto knew what this ninja wanted to say, but Naruto seemed to have made a decision and would not change it easily. He looked at the Yanin, and his face became more serious than ever. I don't need any tailed beasts to enhance my strength. Besides, these tailed beasts belong to the major ninja villages. It's enough time for Konoha to own these tail beasts for so many years. Hearing Naruto's words, everyone was silent, because they already knew from Naruto's tone that Naruto was already quite impatient. At the same time, no one is allowed to go against his will. After all, Naruto has already possessed the aura of Hokage after being in power for so many years. Ordinary ninjas dare not even breathe in front of Naruto. But right now the entire office is silent, and no one speaks. But not speaking does not mean that these people have a unified opinion. The current situation is roughly divided into two factions. One faction is naturally Shikamaru and others, the core force of Konoha, and they are also loyal followers of Naruto. People from the Hokage faction, while the other group of people represent the old Konoha forces. Although there are no so-called elders like Konoha advisors anymore, the ninjas they left behind are still there. These ninjas are now extremely dissatisfied with Naruto's decision and return the tailed beasts to other ninja villages. In their view, these are all tailed beasts that Konoha obtained by relying on his own strength, so why give them back to these people? Back in the very beginning, these tailed beasts were given to them by Master First Hokage? Logically speaking, it is still Konoha's thing, so is there any problem with Sleepy Leaf taking it back? Different understandings make these people think differently. Naruto turned to look at Sasuke. Sasuke, what's your opinion? Sasuke, who heard that he had no opinion, suddenly heard this question. Immediately understood what Naruto meant. Perhaps Naruto was worried that some of them had other ideas. So if you want to ask for your own help, if you even express your support for Naruto, then these people will probably be more careful. I didn't even dare to have any other thoughts at all. Sasuke smiled. Naruto has also grown up and knows how to take advantage of others. And still use your own power. Of course I support you. It's good to return the tailed beast, and save these guys from being noisy and annoying all day long. Besides, it's just a tailed beast, so it's not a big deal. Hearing Sasuke's words, some ninjas who had other thoughts in their hearts felt even more helpless now. I am afraid that in the whole ninja world, only Sasuke dares to say such a thing. But that's right, for Uchiha Sasuke, the existence of tailed beasts is probably like a pet. It can be suppressed at will. But I changed my thinking. As long as Uchiha Sasuke is there, even if these tailed beasts are given out, one day they want to get them back, it's just a matter of moving their fingers. So it seems that there is no need to worry too much for the time being. With your support, I feel relieved. There was a smile on Naruto's face. He knew very well that Sasuke knew what he meant. At the same time, I am very grateful to Sasuke for willing to help him a little at this time. But since you want to return the tail beast, you can't be so casual. Naruto closed his eyes and crossed his arms. After a few seconds of silence, he slowly opened his eyes. He spoke to the crowd. Restart Shadow Talk. Shikamaru froze for a moment. Do you want to restart the 5 Shadow meeting? But now I want to start the talks, but it is different from before. After all, each village has more than one influence. 1. The major ninja villages now have many shadows, and the world structure has been affected by this. I want to take this opportunity to confirm it with my own eyes. After all, he has never met these former shadows, and Naruto is not sure if they have any other ideas. If some of them had thoughts that they shouldn't have, then Naruto would not let them do anything wrong. Go straight back to Konoha. Wait for Sasuke's things to be repaired, and then go straight back to the original era. Naruto, talk now. Those ninjas who came to this world because of chaos, may take the opportunity to make trouble. Shikamaru is worried about this, because of recent statistics. In Konoha village alone, there have been hundreds of ninjas from other eras. Of course, the strength of these ninjas is not very good, and some of them cooperated very well, and followed Konoha's ninjas back to Konoha. For cooperative ninjas, as long as they don't leave Konoha, they can move freely under surveillance to the maximum extent. The ninjas who did not cooperate were all captured and handed over to the members of the technology sealing class, who had already sealed them in containers, waiting to be sent back. There are so many ninjas who came here because of chaos in Konoha alone, so obviously there will be no shortage in other places. Especially the 5 major ninja villages. These ninjas from other eras were only captured, and a small number of powerful beings were not captured. It might not even be discovered. In this case, Naruto wants to hold a meeting, which is a bit risky. I don't know what will happen during this period. Naruto, however, thought for a few seconds. Although there are risks, you still have to confirm it with your own eyes. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. Sasuke is also thinking that the shadows of other villages also belong to the influence of chaos and have come to this era. Logically, they should all be captured back, and then wait to be sent back. But because of the consideration of the 5 major countries, let them take a look at their own country for the time being. But because of this reason, the situation is now becoming more and more complicated. Sasuke's way of thinking is not as complicated as Naruto's. Maybe we can take the opportunity of this meeting and capture all these shadows directly. As for the issue of the 5 major countries, as for the identities of these figures, Sasuke doesn't care at all. Because there are enough things that give Sasuke a headache. Let's deal with these little things as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Sasuke nodded at Naruto. With Sasuke's statement, Naruto's last worry disappeared. It's decided. Immediately notify the other villages. If you want to get back their tailed beasts, come and talk. I request that all the shadows must be present. I, Konoha, will also attend all the cages, and I will also go with Sage of Six Paths Sama. Naruto glanced at Sage of Six Paths. Sage of Six Paths had said before that he would not refuse when he needed help. Now Sage of Six Paths probably understood what Naruto wanted to do, and nodded in cooperation. Indicates no problem. The last sentence is a threat in disguise. If other villages disagree with Konoha, then not only will the tailed beasts disappear, but even their shadows will be captured by Konoha.